everything husky.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again.
It's a brand new day, never hold on to hate, cause you was placed here to be great. Please take your place, all queens got a seat at my table, cause without y'all, then the man ain't able. Melanated queen, connected to the universe, and so I gotta thank my mom for my birth. If hate is the curse, then love is the remedy. So I send you love no matter creed or identity, until infinity, look at you like you kin to me. Even when we disagree, yo, you still kin to me. In other words, I can't bring you no trouble, can't bring you no beef, don't wanna see you deceased. Now if I'm coming at you, I'm coming with a business plan, cause every day I'm on some, yo, let's get this money, man. Yeah, and that's my real plans. I rest my head at night, I wake up, I got another plan.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again.
It's a lot of high rappers tell me why we don't get money together, but we'll kill each other over whatever. Running down the freeway, we gonna own down. If Black Lives Matter, why we gonna own down? That's why they laugh and they think that we clowns. They hear what we say, but see how we get down. We gotta change that now, right now to be exact, cause hurting that man's moms is not where it's at now. Old school, new school need to learn, yo. They put us in groups so they can make more dough. The young versus the old versus the young, black versus white, you see the pattern, right? No unity, keep them all on some gutter-ish. This way they don't prosper and get rich. Yo, can't you see it's a trick? Just open your third eye and you'll see the full view of it. Now yo, what if the powers that be know that the real power lies within the people? That's us. And what if they using things like crayon colors, black and white, to separate the people? Hey, yo, you gotta wake up. Don't let them fool y'all. Spread love.
Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's. Good morning, it's another day, my friend. But soon the sunshine turns to moonlight, life goes on. You take some time to say goodnight, you close your eyes to dream next thing tomorrow's here again. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, y'all. You know what to do. It is that time. Shout out to everybody who's in here showing love. Y'all drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We about to go ahead and get into it. I see some of our regulars in here. I see some new timers in the building too. Appreciate y'all being here. All right, we should be good. Let's see how we looking though. Woo-wee. All crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome, y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. Today, we're getting back into the YSL trial. I don't know, there might be another miracle today. I think Miss Love might be missing again. Oh my God. But then we're gonna start out the day with some drama. I know some of y'all have already been tuning into the trial as we are on a delay today, but we're gonna go ahead and get right into it. But before I do, let me say what's up to the family in the building. Shout out to everybody who's in here. We've got Roy in the building. Focus is up in here. Mr. Tesla, y'all know the awesome, amazing Amy is in here bright and early as well. Shout out to Amy. Thank you for everything that you do and everything that you are. We got Nicole in here. We got Athena is in the building. Nicholas, my guy, is in here. Trina, Michi. Shout out to Michi for always being here showing love. Samantha Rogers is back at it as well. John, shout out to John. Salute, sir, and thank you for your service. We've got Deborah Lewis in here. Tammy Chantel is in the building. Oh, man. We've got Walter is in here as well. Shout out to Sean P, my guy, always in here showing love to the CEB gang for life. We already in here, gang in the building. Valencia's in here. We've got Debbie, DJ, Philippa. The Honorable Attorney Kel Bell is back at it as well. Good to see you in here, Kel. We've got Free Spirit, Jay. Taiki is up in here as well. Catholic Papa's in the building. Anthony, Lord. There's a ton of y'all in here. Shout out to Young Dress. I see you in here too, gang. I will be saying good morning to a few more of y'all as we get to out the show. And if I didn't get your name, please make sure that you spam the good mornings in the chat and I'll say good morning. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it real quick. One more thing before we get started. If y'all could, please make sure that you like the video. Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know that y'all are enjoying the show and it shares it with more people. We also have our first super chat of the day. And I will be reading super chats throughout the show as well. So thank you to everybody who sends in super chats. Shout out to Elaine is in the building. Elaine Hafzala. Just showing some love. Thank you for the 5-bomb, Elaine. And I appreciate the support. Bernie's in here. That pretty girl's in the building. We've got Diana is in here. Shout out to Steven in the building. Justin, I see you. James is in here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it, y'all. Y'all know never a dull moment in this YSL trial. And we're starting off the day with the bang. Let's go ahead and get into it.
General in terms of I'm not playing any
Hold
of
on,
the
let me
statement
rewind
or
real quick.
video. I have no intent of.
Here we go. Thank you to everybody that's in here. Good morning, Lauren. Good to see y'all. Ma, good to see you. Kristen, Mr. Tesla, what's up? Kimberly, Dennis, good morning. Kristen, I see you. Brandon Johnson. Uh-oh, is that Mayor Brandon Johnson? Eesh. Grammy is in here. Grammy Thanks is in the building. Tanya, I see you. Gwen, Nicole, Rox, Cordray, Course is in here. We got Zach, Gwen.
Thanks.
Jay Buckmaster is in the building. Focused, I think I said what's up to you and good morning. Yeah, Sean, I messed up the gang sign. I forgot the thumbs up. I got to do it again. There we go. Okay, I think we're good. Let's skip ahead a little bit. And I got to give Law and Crime their like for this amazing coverage. Chantel, good morning.
Can you tell us what exactly the state would want to present?
Yes, Your Honor. Before the court got on the bench, I was speaking with defense counsel. My intent is to ask Investigator Griffin about speaking with.
I'm sorry, Mr. Atkins.
Shout out to Mr. Atkins for being proactive. I'm proud of you, Mr. Atkins.
So, with the first two interviews that are September 26th and September 29th, I believe, I'm going to ask Investigator Griffin, did he go down to the hospital? Did he speak with Mr. Stillwell? Did he, and later on in the direct examination, ask him about speak with him September 29th? In terms of when I'm going to ask him something that Mr. Stillwell said is going to be in that November interview. And my intent is to be very general in terms of I'm not playing any of the statement or video. I have no intent of playing video or audio recording, but I'm going to ask him, you know, what did he say happened in terms of the events leading up to it, where they go to the gas station, he goes inside, you know, who he's with, they're driving down the street, and then he hears the gunfire. And then in terms of who he identifies, I'm not intending on introducing any photographic lineups. I am intending on
Look at
asking
Mr.
Investigator
Atkins.
Griffin,
Okay, now.
and I was talking with Mr. Shard and read what he provided to court in the state about when he's asking him to identify individuals. Earlier in the interview, he asked him, you know, who did you see or recognize at the gas station? And that conversation kind of, you know, goes along. And so I'm not going to, from my intent is to elicit who he identified, like names. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask Investigator Griffin, you know.
As people seen at the gas station.
And I'm going to try to ask Investigator Griffin in terms of, you know, when you asked him that, were you, was it clear in the questioning whether, you know, to let it known it's not for certain he's saying, I saw them in the car versus at the gas station. So I'm going to ask him, you know, when.
Well, he clearly says with regard to when immediately before the shooting, I saw the same red car. I could tell by the lights, but he doesn't say anything about who's in it, and we know it's at least a half an hour after.
Yes, Your
At
Honor.
least a half an hour afterwards.
I'm not going to be asking, for example, who did he identify as the shooters or something like that. And when Investigator Griffin's on the stand, I'm going to ask him if he took out arrest warrants, and I'm going to ask him who he took arrest warrants out on. And so my intent with that line of questioning is to get out the names
What's up,
that
Detroit?
he saw, whether it's at the gas station,
What up, though?
in
Excuse
that
me.
car. And I'm not going to be asking but just a few questions about his interview in a, relatively speaking, general sense. That's the state's intent. And I also, Your Honor, and any other defense counsel, I have, the crime scene photographs. We removed the photograph, which was labeled as 4, that showed Ms. Jones. There is a map where Investigator Griffin did a drive test from the gas station to the shooting location that's in his police report. So I have a Google Maps of that shows some relevant addresses and streets. And there are also addresses and streets that have came up in testimony this week in terms of to orient where this occurred. And then I have some social media that Investigator Griffin pulled and is in his police report. There's 2 photographs to include some of the individuals that he took arrest warrants out on. And then I have, and this is what I was talking about the most with Mr. Shart, and I won't speak for him, but there's in November 17th of 2018, and Investigator Griffin is aware of this, his police report that he wrote gets leaked on social media. I have removed all of the comments, and there's a lot of commentary or comments. This is after.
How does a
discovery
police
has
report
gone
get
out in that
leaked?
case.
That's crazy.
And so I have a single post that has the Instagram handle, which is YFNBC_nutlife, the date, November 17, 2018, and then it has
Nut life? Really?
a picture of the discovery packet that this is Investigator Griffin's report. You can see his name actually in this police report. And I removed any comments or commentary on it. And so other than the crime scene photos, which I'm only going to publish a few. There's a total of 24, but I'm not publishing all of them. And these 2 Instagram posts, this map and the discovery packet leak, those are the exhibits that I will be tendering through Investigator Griffin.
That had to have been intentional.
And are you going to ask anything about a later recantation or establish through him who ultimately got convicted or anything like that, or is that the entirety?
So, Your Honor, I'm not going, I was telling this to Mr. Shart, I am not going to ask him about the recantation or insinuate because of the lack of clarity on that, that because of this leaked, that I'm not going to go down that line of questioning.
Okay.
I am going to ask him that one of the arrest warrants he took out was for the nickname Kelvin Watts. Kelvin Watts was not indicted on the case. Investigator Griffin is aware of that, so I'm simply going to ask him at the very end of his questioning, did you take out arrest warrants on who? Did you ever come to learn if one of the individuals you took out an arrest warrant on was not indicted? But I'm not going to ask him about convictions or trial.
Okay. Mr. Shart.
I am satisfied with the plan as enunciated by Mr. Atkins, and I appreciate him talking to me earlier. I do have a couple questions that I just want clarity on.
Yeah, nut life is wild.
Am I correct that we still don't have the original letter that was written on his pad, on Investigator Griffin's pad?
So I have not seen one on Investigator Griffin's pad. I've seen
I agree,
that,
Nicole.
I think it was Gwinnett County notarized letter. That's all I've seen.
Right, okay. So, and that's the alleged recantation.
Right.
And I'm not, if they don't have it, they don't have it. I get it. I'm just
Are
asking.
you talking about like the earlier apology letter or
Right.
whatever, which, I mean, presumably it got sent to the family if that was the purpose of it, but y'all aren't using that or
Right.
talking about that anyway.
Right. I was just
Okay.
asking for clarity. Now, the other question, I'm a little confused about the social media post with the discovery on it, because and there's no evidence one way or another about whether my client has ever seen it before the discovery in this case. But I'm not sure if the state's planning on introducing that. What I remember seeing quickly when I was speaking to Mr. Atkins was everything was removed. I don't know what import that has. I get not having the comments.
That it's posted by somebody whose handle is YFN Nutlife, possibly? I don't know. Mr. Atkins, I think there might be a relevance objection.
So, Your Honor, it's multiple relevance points. For one, that is significant in terms of, and some of the other, there's other posts, some of which are handles that the state believes were involved in this incident. But I'm including just one. And number two, what has repeatedly came out in the trial and the state has asked questions about paperwork, snitching, how that gets out. And this is just a clear example of someone literally screenshotting a discovery packet and putting it to the public. Obviously,
how does
the
that happen?
Is removed, but it's not
Crazy.
favorably received. I should say that in terms of why. It's significant for a number of reasons, given the testimony of witnesses in this case, in terms of what people say from the state's position to police and what people say kind of repeatedly in court or things of that nature. So it has a multiple relevance point from the state's perspective. Primarily the first one in terms of the handle of, again, so it's part of that line of, that's the state's intent, back and forth.
I get it. I guess what I'm asking, is that a post where your graphics team, in an effort to work with me, removed like emojis and things from the?
That's the underneath.
Okay, I understand now. There's other versions of this that have like,
oh yeah, for sure,
like
it was leaked intentionally.
the hawk or the bird, and death to rats, or basically taunting my client. And I wasn't sure if what they're introducing was on its own a separate post, or they had redacted the threatening stuff.
Okay. Are you
So
satisfied now?
well, yeah. If this is what it was to begin with, then it is what it is, and I agree that the commentary on the side should be redacted. I just wasn't sure if we redacted the actual post.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for working together to make this
Thank you.
less complicated.
You're welcome, Your Honor. And I'd like to also pass out to the court and defense counsel an exhibit list for Investigator Griffin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I need y'all to help me out with something. Shout out to Ardale. Ardale. Let me put some respect on your name. Says, how come Thug hasn't had to take the stand? What? Do y'all know who that is? I don't know who Young Thug is. I don't know. Is that why we're here? Is that what this trial is about? I don't think I've heard that man's name before.
So what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
I don't know who that is. Young Thug. Our Thug? He just said Thug. I don't know who Thug is. Maybe it's just me.
Your Honor,
I
out
don't know
of
who that
abundance
is.
of caution, one other.
I know who Lil Woody is.
In the entire statement, the November one, there's no one else on trial or Bruton issues, but I think out of prudence, because it
Young
is,
Thug.
I'm asking him about what happened that night and who he identified, but a limited instruction that, that statement.
Jeffrey Williams? I don't know who that is either.
it's not a confession of a crime. So, but out of abundance of caution, I would just want to think through if a limited instruction is needed, to just anything that is said, you know, would be attributed to only defendant Stillwell. There's nothing in what I'm asking Investigator Griffin that I think is on its face incriminating, but I just wanted to, you know, express that with the court. I was thinking through it myself of what the right.
Right, because you're not just having the are you not?
I know who that is.
Is it correct that you're not just having the investigator say, Mr. Stillwell identified two people who he thought, or who he saw at the JJ's Chicken, you know, in the red car? You're having them say, the investigator say, and it was these two people, or these three people? I don't know.
He will at least say that he ended up taking out arrest warrants, and some of those people are the same. And so.
Okay, but is who gets identified going to be, who Shannon identified going to be elicited from the investigator?
Yes. In terms of when you interviewed him on November, you know, who did he
say he saw at the JJ's in the red car?
Correct, Your Honor.
And he will say these names.
Correct.
You know, Your Honor, I hate to do this. I'm looking at this exhibit, proposed exhibit 28DDP. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with the state eliciting from Investigator Griffin that there were social media posts with the discovery identifying Shannon Stillwell as a witness, and people were saying horrible things, or whatever the state wants to elicit. The problem I have with this exhibit is that it has a narrative at the bottom that kind of it testifies to.
I haven't seen it.
It's okay. Matt. Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, I hate answering this question. Nicola says, ClassE, am I right that all the state has on Thug is that he is the head man in this gang? He don't have any other charges on him. So here are the charges in the indictment: organizing and leading a criminal enterprise, YSL, conspiring to commit crimes like murder, armed robbery, and drug dealing. Issue with that one is they're using the lyrics from his songs to make a case for that. And then the third is engaging in violent activities, either personally or through others in the YSL group. So essentially,
right. And so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
this RICO charge is BS, basically. So what the enterprise does, Young Thug does, essentially, putting it in simple terms.
So the issue is in.
Oh, not Nicole with the Big Daddy. Nicole, I told you Big Daddy was in trouble.
Is when it gets into, when asked why he did not provide me with this information, first interviewed Shannon, Jackson advised he was concerned about retaliation against his family, particularly his grandmother. That gets to, inadvertently, we're now introducing a picture from discovery, and that's testimonial. And the problem is, I'm arguing for myself, but I actually think probably the other co-defendants have a stronger argument because it's not their statement, and it affects them as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Your Honor, if I redacted the words, so it just has the, and I could ask Investigator Griffin, you know, to elicit that in this post was contained, you know, I'm not going to have, the jury won't see or read what's actually written. It will be a photograph, and it says Shannon Jackson, injured rear passenger, and then it has Investigator Griffin's, you know, name, the case number, but that paragraph on the bottom, I can redact that.
I think that's probably needed.
Yes,
if
Your
you
Honor.
want to use that.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, with regard to everybody else, there's a Crawford issue. So I'll hear what anybody else has to say about that.
We are objecting on behalf of Mr. Williams to the admission. I spoke also with Mr. Atkins before this honorable court began. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. He agrees with that too. So Mr. Atkins stated that he's going to request a limiting instruction. I have not done a limiting instruction. If you want me to do it, I will try to do it, but I don't know what a limiting instruction would say. It gets very complicated because of the way that the case is charged with all the overt acts. This is not an overt act, so it's better than like the statement of Mr. Kendrick, let's say, or the guilty plea of Mr. Kendrick or Mr. Ryan, but
it's still
very hard to imagine somebody.
No, I mean, yes, if we need to come up with some kind of a limiting, if this evidence is going to come in the way that it's been discussed.
Yeah, so the problem with that is the Crawford issue, for those of y'all who are wondering, arises when the prosecution tries to use evidence from someone who isn't present at trial. And the defense argues that it violates the defendant's right to confront that person. Pretty
I
straightforward.
think we need to come up with a limiting instruction that is appropriate to give. And we need to, if Griffin's our first witness, we need to do it in the next 10 minutes.
He's our second witness, Your Honor.
Okay, well, still, we're going to be, I don't know that anybody's going to have the luxury of being able to focus on a limiting instruction once we start the trial for the day. So if somebody can come up with something now, that would be wonderful.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Hugh and the rest, I think, probably speak for the rest of the defendants. We join in that request as well.
Well, Your Honor, we join in the objection, and we don't think that a limiting instruction is going to be able to fix the issue. So I just want to make sure, for the record, we object to this.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I will work on crafting a limiting instruction that
Gonna have to put it together quick.
Both defense and state should be brief, because what he's stating, you know, if that limiting, you know, because he's not directly stating anything against any defendant in the courtroom, he's discussing people who are not in this courtroom that the state believes are not
Thank you, John.
friends or part of in any way, shape, or form any defendant in this case. I don't know what exactly would be gleaned against another defendant from what I'll be asking.
Okay, well, I mean, you, the state, must be presenting it for some reason to try to establish your story of why these defendants are guilty of the crimes with which they're charged, or you wouldn't be presenting it. So,
Yes, Your Honor.
I mean, that being the case, and I think it is to show your theory of the back and forth between the whomever rival gangs.
Correct, Your Honor.
And so that concept, this tends to further develop and further establish that concept. And so if there isn't a limiter, then it gets considered against everybody. So there definitely needs to be some kind of a limiting instruction.
He's gonna have to
And
put
if
that
it's
together
not
quick.
Sufficient to let the jurors know what to do and not do, then, I mean, it has to be. Otherwise, we can't let the evidence come in this way.
Yes, Your Honor. I will work on finding a
Okay.
limiting
So
instruction.
how long is our first witness going to take?
Your Honor, I believe that first witness should be 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
at least is my
Okay.
prediction.
Okay. Well, then I guess we'll take that witness and then take an early break and
Oh, no, not another break.
figure out the limiting instruction. Okay. Are we ready for the jury? And is there going to be any objection to the, I guess it's what, 20 you said, photos on the wreck itself, now that that one has been taken out?
Oh, we got
That was
Mr.
the only
Brown
one
back
that
in
there
here.
was objection to, I guess.
No objection.
All right. Okay. All right, let's get the jury. You have your witness?
Hang on, and this is the.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The ATF person? Okay.
Yeah, and let's be clear. Shout out to Ardale in here. Ardale Eternal says, I think Thug is the leader. They're just having trouble proving he's the leader of a criminal enterprise. And I would agree with you. There's nothing wrong with being in the gang. The problem is if you have a gang and then you have people within that gang where they're committing crimes, then if you're the leader of that gang and they do some horrible, terrible, murderous things, you're going to be held responsible for that through the RICO charges. And that's why where we are here. And that's what they're trying to say. That's what the state's trying to prove. Are they proving it? No, in my opinion. Yeah, exactly. John says, you're right, man. Every group has a person that is the alpha. And then you get into the lyrics, you get into Thug being associated with other gang members. You deal with Thug having beef with other people who eventually had things that happened to them. Lil Wayne's bus being shot up, Big Nut being murdered, and on and on and on. Tough. That's a good point. Thug technically did not start YSL, so that's true, but he could still be the leader. He doesn't have to start it necessarily.
Excuse me, Your Honor. We received some photos intended to be used as exhibits a few minutes ago from the state. I'm sorry. We received some photos this state intends to use as exhibits, I think with this witness. Is that correct?
Question is a click a gang?
Do you
Yes.
intend to publish all of those
It
photos?
is.
Is this that 1 through 31 now?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe it should be publishing about 17.
Yeah,
16,
cartel.
17 photos of those.
Okay, so for example, there's several that have, there's 4 or 5 with the same firearm. There's another 3 or 4 with the same firearm. Are you going to just publish one of those?
Your Honor, we will publish not all of them. I cannot say right off the top of my head that it should be just 1 or 2 angles of the same.
What is this even about?
I have no idea.
You have no idea
in terms of what the
it's
request
about?
is.
Well,
You have no idea what the photos are about? What this has
Uh-oh, Judge Whitaker's get Mr. Brown.
Okay.
I understand the request. Tell me what he's going to be testifying to. What is this about? What are the photos
The
of?
photos are photos of the crime scene. Or the crime
Which
scene.
crime scene?
The
There are all crime
located-
scenes in this case?
I was going to say that, Your Honor. It's located at Confederate Avenue and Boulevard Avenue.
Okay,
South.
and 17 is still a lot. Is this actually one of the overt acts, or is this
This is an
just-
overt act.
Okay. And if you are doing several pictures from different angles, is there some reason that the different angles are needed?
Yes, because in some of the photos, some of the items that we were discussing are not captured, and so the angle will capture it in some pictures and not in some things in the
All
photos
right,
are
I'll
instantly there.
just try to do it, without belaboring
And-
anything, please.
And let me also clarify, Your Honor, I'm not only...
And stop asking for 15 just a seconds, Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown was struggling yesterday. If I may have a moment, Your Honor. If I may have a moment, Your Honor. Just 1 second, Your Honor. Come, what are you doing, dude?
To the publication.
Or, because you started out clarifying, so is there an objection?
Yeah, there's an objection.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Your Honor.
Sorry, that's my fault. I thought you started out clarifying. Are you now objecting?
I am objecting to the admission as well as the publication of multiple images of the same firearm over,
Okay,
repeatedly.
why don't you get with him and show him which ones you plan to,
Yes.
the publication of
I agree,
or the
phenomenal,
omission
Lauren.
of?
Both,
Okay.
Your Honor, they're cumulative.
Okay, this should have been done before now.
Well, they just-
Go
Yeah.
get with, yes, no, I'm not
Okay.
criticizing you. This should have been done before now. Get with the defense and show them the photos, and I don't know if I need to, then you let me know which ones you object to. Sorry about this. You can stay and hang out, or you can walk back over there. Let me know
Man.
before you do.
Doug
so we
Weinstein's
can
wearing
move
his
the
I
camera.
voted sticker. I didn't wear mine.
We got told we were ready, but turns out we're not. Yeah.
Yeah, and Fulton County, voting is now open. Y'all can go and vote. I voted yesterday. I left my sticker at home though. I gotta go get my voting sticker. I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. Make sure y'all get out and vote. Let your voice be heard. Your vote does matter. And there's a lot of other things you're voting on that are going on here in Fulton County as well. So make sure if y'all haven't gotten out and vote yet, make sure you do that. Oh, shout out to Elijah Watts, said I voted yesterday. There we go. It's time, y'all. Get out there and vote. Oh, and I saw something. Hold on, let me mute them while they're over here talking. I saw something I wanted to address. Oh, y'all are talking about gangs. Yeah, I mean, there's being associated with the gang is pretty easy. I mean, we're technically a gang here. And if I told y'all, hey, I want everybody trying to think of something crazy, because I don't want to say it online. But say I made a song and it was about committing certain types of crimes, and then somebody who was in the live stream went out and committed those crimes, and then somebody else went out and committed other crimes. Well, I'd probably be in trouble. You just got to be careful. Comments are fun, said ClassE. I'm guessing you voted red. Well, it depends. I did not vote straight down the line, if that's what you're asking. And you'd be surprised. Well, you wouldn't be surprised because I mentioned it before. A lot of there's a lot of people who ran in Fulton County that ran unopposed. So, and they were incumbents too, obviously. So yeah, no, I did not vote straight down, in case you're wondering. But I mean, y'all know who I voted for. Shout out to Courtney Kramer. And we're about to lose 300 people. And shout out to my guy, Donald Trump. I know, those numbers are about to drop in a second, y'all. I apologize to everybody who's leaving. Yeah, but I did not vote straight down, just Republican, in case you're wondering. Yeah, but we getting Trump back in there, and we got to get Fanny out. So I'm doing my part. Here we go. Oh, we actually gained 100 people. Hey, shout out to y'all. People don't like when I say Trump 2024.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. So I have
Shout out to y'all.
the
Okay.
state the photos they plan on publishing.
No, we did not vote for Adrian Love
and
this year.
I could read those specific ones, but I don't. We've narrowed down the ones that they plan on publishing, so I have no objections to the ones that the state has shown me that they plan on publishing. Excuse me. The other ones that they do not plan on publishing include many photos that are cumulative, they're redundant to others. So any of the ones that they do not plan on publishing that we haven't gone over, I object to the admission of those.
All right, well, you're going to have to be a little more specific.
Okay, then let's.
If they still want to have admitted the ones they're not going to publish.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, well, then I need to know
Okay, then.
what those are.
Then I would object to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20.
Dang, you're getting rid of a lot of these
22.
pictures.
24, 25,
Yeah, I feel you, Lane.
28, 30, 31.
Appreciate you, Catholic Papa.
Correct. 31.
All of these are not human. These are not human.
I know,
Okay,
Jay said,
and
just say
so
all of them,
what
Doug.
they are
Just say
gonna
all of them.
Publish then is
I could,
12, 19, 21, 23, 26, 27, and 29.
that's my understanding, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, that would not be correct. Based on
Okay, which ones are you going to publish?
state intends to publish 2, 31, 3.
Oh, my God. So could you do them in order, please? 2, 3, 5.
Your Honor, the reason why they're like that is because they are organized by how they will be published, but I can go through.
What are they going to be? 2, 3, 5, 31, what else?
Sure, there are 2, 3, 5, 31, 9, 10, 21, 29, 12, 27, 26.
It's crazy.
Oh no, Judge Whitaker. Dang. Y'all heard that? Judge Whitaker said, oh my God. Crazy. Dang.
Will be published, but I can go through.
What are they going to be? 2, 3, 5, 31, what else?
Sure, there are 2, 3, 5, 31, 9, 10, 21, 29, 12, 27.
Oh, there we go. We lost all 400 of y'all. It's okay.
19 and 23.
Okay. Let me put those in an actual order that makes sense.
Dang.
Give me a second to rule on.
Shout out to Gustav. Yeah, he's mad because some of us support Trump over here. Not all of us support Trump on this channel, Gustav. We try and keep it objective. And differing opinions are welcome. So it's okay. You don't have to agree.
So, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
But thanks for being here.
You would object to whichever ones they're not publishing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. As cumulative or what?
As either cumulative or not relevant. I mean, I need to sit down and look at the actual photos they sent this morning to be more specific on those. My concern is that there are multiple pictures of the guns, and I do not want the multiple cumulative pictures of those guns going back.
On the screen so we can all look at them at the same time. So what does one show? Why is one needed?
State does, just one second, Your Honor. To the version that we intended to publish.
Yeah, see, there you go. Phenomenal RN does not. It's okay.
The state doesn't intend to publish one, excuse me, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, stop. My understanding, I just wrote down
This is Whitaker's feeling feisty.
because I got which one, but you intend to tender them, and so and there is an objection, and so I have to rule on whether I'm going to admit them. Okay, so I'm only going to be asking you about the ones that you intend to tender but not publish because there's not an objection to the ones that you intend to publish. So tell me why the ones that I'm going to ask you about are both relevant and not cumulative, why you need them.
As to the state's exhibit number 1 that the court asked about, this is a crime scene photo that shows another yet angle of that particular area where they stopped. It could be helpful to the jury if it becomes an issue about where in fact the cars were positioned.
Dang, Mr. Brown is getting cooked.
I don't know what this crime is about. So, and this is the very first picture that I am seeing of it. So what happened? What was the crime?
No problem, Your Honor. This crime scene was started off as a traffic stop because of a traffic violation.
Okay.
That the officers observed a failure to signal. After which the officers then went to pull over the car after activating their emergency lights. They in fact did so, and upon stopping, the persons contained inside the vehicle who were later identified as Mr. Martinez Arnold and Diamante Kendrick, then stopped their vehicle for a brief moment, did some fidgeting, then took off at a high rate of speed in the area going on to the 20, going 20 eastbound.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
to
we
interrupt. Can
we
the
lost
witness
about
speak?
600
Before we go
people.
through this?
Yes.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
All right, so if y'all can avert that camera, thank you.
They excuse
Okay,
the
so
witness
there's
while
a
they get all this
chase, and then
settled.
there's a crash.
Jeez.
There's a chase, then there's a crash after the
And then they run out of the car?
in separate directions, and those photos could become necessary if there's a disagreement or confusion about which directions in which they're.
Okay, and so it's the black car that was the car they were in?
Black Monte Carlo.
And that's where it lands, is up against that guardrail?
That's correct.
Okay.
I just broke Pamela's heart. I'm so sorry. Oh, I did forget to turn the volume up
Okay,
for the
well,
courtroom.
1 and 4
Thank you.
honestly look like the same picture.
Thank you.
And
Should be good
Your Honor,
now.
as I'm looking at it, if the court wants me to remove 4, I can do that. I do not have a problem doing that.
It is not what the court wants or doesn't want, although the court does want attorneys who know how to try a case. But my rulings are based on the rules of evidence, okay? So, is that the same photo?
It is not the same photo.
Is it almost the same photo?
Get it together, Mr.
In my
Brown.
estimation, no, Your Honor, because it's a
Dang.
closer view and it gives more perspective as to what is in that photograph.
Which one do you want?
The state would be fine with having photograph number 1.
Okay, so 4 is out. Are you withdrawing 4 or am I ruling 4 out?
State can remove 4.
Okay. I'm gonna let 1 in, so then the next one would be 6, which is you can see the license plate fine in 5, you don't need 6. You can withdraw it or I'll rule it out.
State can remove 6.
Okay. 7.
Dang, Mr. Brown.
What does 7 show that the ones you already have don't?
7 gives a better perspective as to the wooded area because it's a little dark, as you can see, Your Honor. It shows better view of the vehicle and some of the portion to the left of it where if you see the door open, that eventually becomes much clearer once the crime scene takes the interior, the inside of that driver's side.
I can't spell.
Yeah, I disagree with the characterization of what's in the photo, but the court can see for themselves.
Yeah, sorry about the volume, y'all. I wish you had told me sooner.
You don't need 7.
It's over here being all loud.
Cumulative. All right, 8.
8 gives a perspective of the passenger side vehicle, a closer view, as will be shown in the next exhibit, a closer view that you can see. It's much clearer.
Okay, wait, the next exhibit, meaning what?
Exhibit 9, it kind of is the same type of profile for the.
All right, 9 is the driver's side of the car.
Yes.
And so,
I'll withdraw my objection to 8, Your
okay.
Honor.
So 8 is fine. Okay, what does 11 show that 9 and 10 and 12 do not?
11 shows, Your Honor, the inside door of the vehicle. You can see inside the side panel where the pocket is, whereas in 10 you don't have that opportunity.
And is there anything significant in the side pocket?
Shout out to Sean.
The things that are in there that we expect that the officer can say that he saw multiple items in plain view.
Anything of significance?
I would say no. If you don't want, the state can do without 11.
All righty, you're withdrawing 11. 13.
13. This shows that the car is on because as you can see in 13, the radio is there, the keys are still in the ignition. It provides context as to the fact that this vehicle was in fact still left running.
That's all in 12 as well, Your Honor.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be.
It's not clear, as clear as it would be in 13, Your Honor. That is the reason for that publication, purpose for that being a part of this.
Then do you want 13 instead of 12?
No, 12 is more important than 13 because.
All right, I'll let 13 in. Then we have 14. What's the point of 14?
14 is a closer view of the keys being in ignition. We can withdraw it.
All right. 15.
The state is in this photograph. It's a direct photo of the firearm that was located within the car.
He's trying it.
If in fact this is to be admitted, Your Honor, it could show a better perspective of this firearm, which.
Is it not pretty well shown in 12? The entirety of it is shown in 12.
Okay, that's fine. We can withdraw 14.
All righty. That was 15.
Excuse me, 15. As is the case for 16.
All right, thank you. And then 17?
17, we can withdraw it.
All right, 18 shows the back seat.
Yes, I believe we already agreed to withdraw that
Okay.
from publication, so that is
All
not
right.
necessary.
Withdrawing it from, are you not going to tender it for admission?
Excuse me, will not be seeking to admit that.
Okay. All right, and then
19 is
19, there's no objection to 19. So 20, you're actually able to see who it's of. So I would think that one
Thank you,
is
Pamela.
fine. 22. Where did that come? Oh, that's just a close-up of what's in 21?
It is a closer view in this photograph, Your Honor. You can see a little bit better the serial number as well as the make and model of that firearm.
Then I would suggest they should use 22 instead of 21. They don't need both, Your Honor.
Well, you can't tell where it is if it's just 22. 22 is fine. 24 is the trunk.
Yes.
Why?
This had within it just a few items that were found. They're not really pertinent, but they were part of the crime scene photos. We can withdraw.
All right. 25.
25, Your Honor. This shows the black glove that was mentioned in the report. It focuses in on that particular portion inside the middle console.
All right. That looks like a gray glove to me, but okay. Is
Yeah,
that, in 26 it looks black.
Yeah, I don't see the black glove in 25.
I don't either. It's probably just because it's a bright flash or something. And so why do you need 25?
Because without that perspective, you may not know that that's the center console. And that is why we, in fact, use both, because you need the perspective to know.
All right. And then 28.
28.
Shows the serial number of that long gun.
Yeah, to
All
Mr.
right.
Spiffy.
That's fine. And 30.
Yeah, Latanya.
30,
Should have been.
30. Where's 30? So is this a third gun?
The state's 30 is not. That we can withdraw that. That is a better. The other one was a little blurry. But
Okay.
this is another photos coming in with this handgun, so we
Okay.
can withdraw this.
And I think that's all of them.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Lauren, that's
All right.
crazy.
Thank y'all. That should have been done before now. We wasted 20 minutes of the jury's time. Let's get the witness back in.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I don't
Make
think
sure we.
y'all should never be
move that
afraid
up. Thank you.
to share your opinions and thoughts. That's a shame that some people who have certain beliefs have got us to a point to where you're shamed for what you think or how you vote, who you vote for, and people are afraid of just
And
giving
is
their
this
opinion.
agent
It's
only going
sad.
to be identified by last name?
Yes.
Not here though.
First initial and last name.
All right.
Thank y'all. We don't do that here.
Just Jay, or do you want?
Yeah, comics are fun. It's on both sides. It's all good.
Yeah, we're ready this time.
All right, we're finally going to get the first witness in here after all that. Judge Whitaker was cooking Seth Brown up in there for a minute. Oh, we got all of y'all back. We're back up to 2,100 of y'all. Thank you to everybody who's in here. Make sure y'all like the video. Hey, I guess Trump didn't scare y'all away. Oh my God. It's just interesting, you know, speaking of Gustav, and shout out to Lauren. She said, what did Lauren say? She said, no need to announce your departure, Gustav. We aren't in the airport. Yeah, dang. Lauren's cooking them. You know, it would be interesting if it would have been an interesting, I guess, social experiment to see if I had said I was voting for Kamala and if he had stayed, which basically means everything I had said before up to this point. The only reason that changed is because I said who I was voting for. It's interesting. So you were here that long and were able to listen to the content that long until I said who I was voting for. Yeah, we're at a strange place in our country, I think. Shout out to the amazing, awesome Amy. It's interesting.
I do. State is spelled first and last name, of course.
Your first initial's fine.
Oh wow, we got more people in
First
here.
initial J, last name Doherty.
We got the Trumpers coming in.
D-O-U-G-H-E-R-T-Y.
Y'all get out and vote.
Good morning, Mr. Doherty. Are you employed?
Yes, sir.
And where are you employed?
I am currently employed with the federal government Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
And what do you do in your current status as an employee of the federal government?
I'm a federal agent tasked with criminal investigations.
Okay, and how long have you worked in that capacity?
I've been there with the Bureau for about almost 3 years.
And were you employed prior to your employment with the the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm Explosives Department?
Yes, I was.
And what was your employment?
I was employed with the City of Atlanta Police Department.
And in what capacity did you work for the City of Atlanta Police Department?
I was a sworn officer.
Okay. And if you could just talk into that mic, everything is being transposed.
Is that better?
Important thing. And how many years in total were you employed with the Atlanta Police Department?
I was employed with the Atlanta Police Department for approximately 12 years.
And when did you begin with the Atlanta Police Department?
I began in 2010.
And when did you end?
I ended about 2022.
Come back, Monty.
And
we need your vote.
Were you post-certified during your entire time with the Atlanta Police Department?
Yes, I was post-certified.
What was your official title prior to leaving?
Prior to leaving, I retired out as a sergeant.
Thank you, Mary.
And did you often work with a partner while at the Atlanta Police Department?
Yes, I did for some of my career.
Please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who that partner was.
My partner typically was a C. Munson.
And how often would you work with him?
I probably worked with him approximately 5 years on and off between different units on the department.
And I want to direct your attention to the date of Tuesday, October 1st, 2015. Do you remember working that day?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And what shift were you working around about that time?
On that given night, I believe we were working a shift which is like late evening into early morning. So we were working probably approximately 6 p.m. to about 2 a.m. in the morning.
And do you recall patrolling around or about the area of Confederate Avenue and Boulevard Avenue, Southeast Atlanta, Georgia?
Yes, I do.
And can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you recall about patrolling on that day?
On that given night, we were patrolling Confederate Avenue coming up to Boulevard, and we witnessed a vehicle make a traffic infraction in front of us.
And what was the traffic infraction to your recollection?
To my recollection, they were in the left-hand turn lane of Confederate Avenue, and they proceeded into the right-hand turn lane to turn right. So they made a right-hand turn from that lane without signaling.
Use your turn
to
signal,
proceed
people.
north on Boulevard.
And at this time, when you're observing this traffic infraction, are you in a marked patrol vehicle?
Yes.
And are you also in uniform?
Yes, we're in clearly marked Atlanta Police uniform.
And when you saw this traffic infraction, what, if anything, did you do? Well, let me ask this question. Who's driving?
My partner Munson would have been driving that night.
And when you did see this traffic infraction, what, if anything, did you do at that time?
We would have illuminated the emergency equipment on our vehicle to initiate a traffic stop on the vehicle.
And did you initiate a traffic stop on that vehicle with your partner that day?
Yes, we did. We initiated a traffic stop.
Great point.
And
Great point, Mark.
Did you get out of the vehicle at the time of that traffic stop when you initially stopped it?
No, we didn't get out of the vehicle initially. Typically what we did is when we did initiate a traffic stop, me and my partner, because it is dark at night, we would take the spotlight and illuminate the interior of the vehicle from the back to be able to see the individuals inside and kind of assess what they're doing. On that given night, we observed the two individuals inside the vehicle begin to shift around a lot and turn around and continually look at us. Typically when that happens, we kind of hesitate to get out because one, it could mean either someone...
Speculation.
Overruled.
One, typically it could signal that maybe they're looking to ambush the officers walking up.
Sustained.
Without saying,
What does that mean?
I'll ask you a different question. When you did not get out of the vehicle, did anything happen after that?
Yes.
What happened in that particular incident when you stopped and didn't get out?
So they shifted around. We're looking back. We decided not to get out because usually people fled at that point, and that is indeed what they did.
And when the vehicle, and what kind of vehicle did you stop?
We stopped a black Chevy Monte Carlo.
And do you recall where, in proximity to where you initially noticed them, that you stopped that black Monte Carlo?
I don't know the exact distance. I know we initially saw them at Confederate and Boulevard, if you're familiar with the area. And then the stop was actually conducted at not Moreland, I'm sorry,
Thank you,
misspoke.
Chris.
Boulevard and Glenwood.
Okay. And how many people were inside the black Monte Carlo?
Inside of the black Monte Carlo, we could see two people when we illuminated it.
And when you observed the vehicle take off after you stopped it initially, can you describe whether it moved fast or slow?
I do not remember the exact
fast or slow?
rapid or how fastly it took
come on,
off.
Mr. Brown. He was doing so
I
good.
just know that it left the traffic stop.
Okay. Did you follow after the vehicle when it left the spot where it initially was stopped?
Yes, we did.
And did you continue to have activated your emergency equipment, being lights and the siren?
Yes, we would have left all the lights, sirens, everything on to, notify the public also.
And prior to leaving, in what direction did the vehicle travel when it left from the stop that you initially made of the vehicle?
It initially continued north on Boulevard towards I-20, where it made a right-hand turn onto I-20 eastbound and picked up speed to get onto the freeway.
And as the vehicle is taking this path, are you able to observe any movement or anything inside of the vehicle?
Yes, a black glove, or what appeared to be a black glove, went flying out the passenger window. It was merging onto the freeway.
During traffic stops, do you typically speak with dispatch?
Typically, yes, we would speak with dispatch during a traffic stop.
And did you radio dispatch at all during this incident, this stop?
I did radio dispatch.
And what did you communicate with dispatch?
I would have communicated with dispatch the stop and that we had one fleeing from us. Typically, they ask for traffic conditions, reason for the stop.
How fast was the car going?
Things of that nature, conditions of the road, stuff like that.
So again, my point with this is, what does this have to do with Young Thug? So because this guy evaded the police, that's somehow Young Thug's fault? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. They're losing me. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Y'all tell me in the comments in the chat.
During the time that you were speaking with dispatch, were you ever contacted by Unit 2697?
I would have been contacted by a supervisor. I'm not sure 100% which supervisor it was.
Okay. And what, if anything, were you advised to do in the course of your pursuit?
Objection calls for hearsay.
Effect on the listener, Your Honor.
Can you ask it a different way that doesn't call for your say?
I have no idea what. He said I can't.
But I'll move on.
Oh my God. Get him out. Get Brown out of here.
Was there ever a time during the course of your pursuit of the Monte Carlo that you stopped pursuing it?
Yes, there was.
And what, if anything, occurred at that time when you stopped pursuing the Monte Carlo?
When we stopped pursuing the Monte Carlo, it had come to, it basically wrecked out. It had wrecked into a guardrail. When you exit I-20 eastbound on Flat Shoals there's a guardrail and a stop sign. It ran through the stop sign and came to a stop at the guardrail.
Right. And when it stopped at this guardrail, did the occupants remain inside, or did they do anything else?
At that point, the occupants jumped out of the vehicle and began to flee on foot.
In which directions did the occupants of the vehicle go?
The driver fled northbound on Flat Shoals, and the passenger fled southbound on Flat Shoals.
Why aren't we showing this officer again? Maybe he's under.
And did you and your partner pursue?
Yes, we did pursue.
Did you pursue by car?
We both pursued on foot.
And did you have a description? Did you ever get a description of those individuals, the passenger and the driver?
I'm sure we would have gotten a description by looking at them. I don't recall that exact description that night at this point.
Would looking at a copy of the report associated with this matter refresh your recollection?
It may, yes.
All right. Now approaching the witness with State's Exhibit 32 MM, which has already been provided in discovery.
Yikes.
Take a moment to review that, and when you had a chance to have your memory refreshed, you can look back up at me, and then I'll continue asking you questions.
Tell him, Catholic Papa. Mark says, apparently, if you register an objection as a witness in this trial, you can reserve your image from broadcast. But why, though? We have his name and his badge number. I don't know.
All right, has your memory been refreshed?
Yes, sir.
What was the description of the passengers that you obtained from that from this incident?
The occupants of the vehicle were both wearing black clothing.
And do you have any other descriptors about them?
I got you.
I believe the passenger was wearing a black shirt and black pants, and the driver was described as wearing a black hoodie and black pants.
What was their race?
Both were black males.
What is their gender?
Black males.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I missed that part. And did you later come to obtain an identity for these individuals?
Yes, we did.
And what was the identity of the driver?
The driver was Mr. Diamante Kendricks.
And what was the identity of the passenger?
The passenger was Mr. Martinez Arnold.
Find his ass right now.
And as these passengers, as Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Arnold are fleeing on foot, did you ever give any verbal commands to them?
Yes, I was chasing behind Mr. Arnold, and I did give him verbal commands to stop.
Did they stop?
No.
And I should say, did they stop at your command?
No, they did not stop at my command.
And as you gave chase to Martinez Arnold, can you describe where he went during this chase? Is there any location that you followed him to?
When he fled south on Flat Shoals, he dipped in behind the houses to the left, went behind one of the properties there, one of the houses, chased him to about a fence. He hopped the fence. At that time, when he jumped over the fence, he stumbled and fell. Me with all my gear on, it takes us a little longer to get over a fence. Couldn't see his hands, so I used my city-issued taser to try and stop him. The first time I fired it, it's ineffective. It didn't make good connection. The second time I fired it, it did make good connection, basically making him immobilized and giving me time to get over the fence to apprehend him.
And after, during the course of that interaction, was he injured in any way to your recollection?
To my recollection, I do not know of him being injured, no.
I'm gonna find him for y'all.
Could you please pull that mic a little closer to your mouth?
I'm sorry.
Mr. Brown.
After detaining and apprehending Mr. Arnold, did you remain where you were behind that fence in Wood area?
No, after apprehending Mr. Arnold, I would have walked back to the car.
Did you walk alone, or did you take him with you?
I would have taken him with me.
And do you recall the address associated with the home to which he fled behind?
I don't recall the address, no.
Would that have been noted in the report?
It may have been.
Do you want to take a moment to look at it?
I'll check.
What was the address?
The address was 1909 Flat Shoals Road.
Okay. And was Mr. Arnold searched incident to arrest?
Yes.
Was he searched by you?
Yes.
And what did he find? What did you find, if anything?
I don't remember right now the exact things I found. I'm
Amy.
going to have to refer to my report.
Refer to your report, look back at it, you don't need to.
Mr. Arnold. I'll find it for you.
Yes, sir. All right. When I
Before he answers that, y'all are asking about Mr. Arnold. This is from Thugger Daily. Shout out to Thugger Daily, by the way. He says the first witness of the day, Agent Doherty, I'm probably saying it wrong, testifies to the 2015 arrest of Duke. So that is Duke. Martinez Arnold is Duke. And Yak Gotti, after they were found going to a rival gang territory with a stolen gun, Yak Gotti pled guilty to this and served time. And this is the Duke that's represented by Ashley Merchant. And here you see some more information about the charges. Defendants Martinez Arnold and DeMonte Kendrick, associates YSL, did unlawfully commit the felony offense of conspiracy to commit murder by driving into the territory of a rival gang with the intent to cause the death of another human being in retaliation for a prior shooting by a rival gang while armed with an AK-47 assault rifle and a .40 caliber handgun, violation of Georgia law right here, which is racketeering activity and overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. To answer your question, shout out to Thugger
searched
Daily.
him, I found in his front
And shout out to
pocket
Amy.
would have been approximately 6.6 grams of suspected marijuana, and his right front change pocket of his pants was a small round pill with the markings 230 on it, which was suspected oxycodone. And then in his, I guess in the rest of his pants or his person, we also located $45.40 and a cell phone and a cell phone charger.
Thank you, Nicholas.
After returning to the space where you initially stopped, where the vehicles stopped, did you ever see your partner again?
When I returned to the car, my partner was not there. He was still chasing.
Did he ever apprehend the driver, Mr. Kendrick?
Yes, he did.
And do you know if force was used to apprehend him?
I believe he did use his taser to apprehend him.
And was he injured as a result of the chase and pursuit? That being Mr. Kendrick?
I do not know if he was injured or not.
Do you know if Mr. Kendrick was searched incident to his arrest?
Objection, Your Honor, counsel speculation.
I don't
know if he,
Overruled.
I don't know whether he has personal knowledge.
I mean, when it says, do you know? Personal knowledge, please.
Do you have personal knowledge if Mr. Kendrick was searched incident to arrest?
I did not search him. It would have been my partner.
And was there any other, do you recall if when seeing Mr. Kendrick,
you see?
him having any kind of garments around his neck?
I can't say that I remember, no.
Would you have detailed that? Would that have been detailed in the report?
It may have been.
Would you please take a moment to look at it and then look back up at me when you remember
That in the report is still called for hearsay.
No, Your Honor. That would be hearsay.
And it would be outside his personal knowledge. In order to testify, he would see him.
Your Honor, he was personally.
Who's that speaking?
Overruled.
I can't see who that is that's speaking. Mr. Brown's struggling, trying to ask the right question. Oh, God. Y'all give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
In the report, it details that while he was being treated by Grady EMS, he had a black and red bandana around his neck, Mr. Kendricks.
After returning back to the location where the car had run into the guardrail, did you have an opportunity to look around or about it?
Yes.
Did you also have an opportunity to look inside?
Yes.
And after you had the opportunity to look inside of the vehicle, did you see anything of evidentiary value to you?
Yes, we did.
What did you see at the time that you looked inside the vehicle?
There were 2 firearms in plain view in the vehicle, and we ended up calling crime scene photo technician out to take photos of the vehicle.
Was there anything else of importance inside of the vehicle that you took note of?
Not before searching it. I mean, we wouldn't know.
Were the firearms loaded or not loaded?
Both firearms were loaded with 1 round in the chamber.
And what type of firearms were located inside?
There was a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson pistol, and there was a .762 AK style rifle in the front seat also.
Oh, nice.
In your training experience, nice. Are you taught to run checks on firearms?
Yes, we are.
And did you do that?
It would have either been me or my partner Munson. Yes.
Okay. And what were the results of any check, if any, of the firearms?
That.
Sustained.
Right. Now I'm going to approach you with what has been previously identified as State's Exhibits 1 mm, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 12 mm, 13 mm, 19 mm, 20 mm, 21, 22, 23, 24.
Shout out to Texas. I wish
25,
Greg Abbott was running this year. He would have my
27,
vote.
28, 29, and 31, all under the phonetic subset of MM. Alphabet subset MM. Would you take a second? Well, let me ask you this. Have you had a chance to review those exhibits prior to coming to court today?
Yes, I did.
And what do you recognize those exhibits to be?
They look to be photos from the crime scene there that the crime scene tech took of them.
And do those photos that you have in your hand now that have been previously identified reflect the crime scene and the things that you testified to earlier as you remember it to be?
Yes, they do.
And do they fairly and accurately depict the crime scene as you remember it to be?
Yes.
Have those photos been changed or altered in any way?
No.
All right. Your Honor, at this time, the state now moves to admit the previously identified exhibits into evidence and subject to your ruling, request permission to publish.
Those are admitted, and you may publish.
All right. All right.
Oh, Chris, I thought you were leaving. My bad. You said have a good one. I thought you were leaving. Sorry, Chris.
While that's being prepared, I want to ask you a few extra questions.
Oh, Steven's leaving? All right, take care, Steven.
I want to
My
ask
bad.
you, when you were at the crime scene,
Oh, there he goes.
did you, in fact, call for the crime scene ID tech?
I don't remember who called for them. I know we called for them, though.
And why was Grady called out to the scene?
Again, I don't remember them being injured, but if we had Grady on scene, according to the report, it's because they complained of injury, and we would render medical attention to them.
Okay. And, excuse me, and as they were being rendered medical attention, did they continue to remain in custody?
Yes, they'd have been in custody the whole time.
All right. All right. Now showing you, it's going to populate on the screen. Now showing you brief indulgence. Okay. And as the scene of the crime was being processed, did you continue to, by the ID tech, did you continue to remain present?
Yes, we'd have been on scene the whole time.
Okay, and the vehicle, you indicated it was taken, there were photos taken, but did you personally conduct the search of the vehicle, or was that done by another person?
I don't recall who actually searched the vehicle.
Of course not. It was 10 years ago. Jeez, man.
All right, so now showing you, and I'm going to reclaim these, and you can look at the screen as the photos come up. Starting with State's Exhibit 1MM. And by when the crime scene photos are being taken, are you the person or the other, or your partner being the person to direct where the photos are, or are you doing other things?
I mean, usually the crime scene techs would kind of know they do their own thing, but we would direct them like, hey, we need photos of inside of the vehicle or the firearms, things of that nature that were found.
All right. The in front of you is State's Exhibit 1MM. And can you see that clearly on that screen?
One mic,
Yes.
Mike.
Okay. All right. And going to publish this. Right. I'm going to enlarge it for you to see.
Hey, yo. That's what.
And
never
as I
mind.
am doing
I'm gonna be
this,
professional.
I would like to ask you if, with this particular exhibit, you recognize the vehicle that is on the screen with the blue lights.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Jeez,
and
Amy.
you recognize the vehicle that is beside it, that is in all black.
Yes, I do.
Is that the Monte Carlo that you described earlier in your testimony?
Yes, it is.
And what roadway are these two vehicles situated on?
That is going to be Flat Shoals.
All right. And now showing you State's 2MM. What direction is the view of the camera facing on Flat Shoals, cardinal direction-wise?
That would be a view of southbound.
Do you see anybody that resembles yourself in this exhibit?
Yes, I do.
Do you see anybody that resembles your partner in this exhibit?
I do.
I'm going to try to zoom in, see if it is, and there should be a wooden pointer behind you. I'm going to ask you to reposition with the court's permission to point out yourself and to point out your partner.
Mr. Brown, get it together,
That would
brother.
be me at the back of the car,
Come on, man.
and that would be my partner right there.
Too bad we can't see anything.
Showing you State's Exhibit
Oh, here we go.
3MM, and the vehicle is this the guardrail that you were describing that the vehicle made impact with on that day?
Yes.
All right. Can you read off the driver's license driver's plate number license plate number associated with this vehicle?
Yes, it's a Georgia license plate, BXF3832.
And that is State's Exhibit 5MM. Showing you State's 8MM. Is this the side of the vehicle that you described Mr. Arnold exiting from when he ran and fled from the scene?
Yes.
Right. Showing you now 9MM. And this side of the vehicle, can you describe the condition of the front driver's side tire?
The tire appears to be flat.
Was it flat when the vehicle was being operated by Mr. Kendrick?
No.
Is it flat as a result of impacting with the after the impact?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Come on, man.
Showing you now State's 10MM. What is being depicted? What is shown in this exhibit here?
In this exhibit
Good
here,
Lord, look at that
I draw
car.
your attention to the floorboard under the steering wheel. You can see a silver object with black. That is going to be the 40
that's the
caliber
gun
Smith
right
&
here.
Wesson pistol.
Can't miss it
And
'cause
there's
I-
also
well, I won't say that.
what appears to be a Fanta bottle with a yellow label and a purple drink inside of it.
It's a great pistol. by
I
the
would
way.
suspect that to be
Sustained.
Without saying suspicion, do you see a yellow bottle with a purple liquid inside of it?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you see anything seated on the driver's seat?
Yes.
What do you see?
There's a cell phone with what appears to be an identification card on it.
All right, now showing you State's 12MM. Please describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you see here.
In this photo here, I see the AK-style rifle propped up against the middle console and a backpack on the passenger floorboard.
All right. Do you know if that backpack was searched at all?
I cannot recall if it was or not.
Okay. And from this photograph that you are looking at,
Oh, funny.
now publishing free states 13 mm. From this photograph, can you tell, looking at the radio or the steering wheel console, if they're still be on?
It appears to still be on.
All right. Showing you states 19 mm. Is this the cell phone that you were describing that you saw earlier with the identification card, just with a clear picture?
Yes, it's just a closer view.
All right. Showing you states 20 mm, excuse me. And using states 20 mm, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the name on?
Man, and shout out to Mark. I was thinking the exact same thing. That AK was dirty. He said that gun condition is a crime itself. Gangs got to have some cleaning classes. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. You read my mind. But I didn't think anybody would appreciate the comments, so I kept it to myself.
Identification card and for that.
The name is Diamante Kendricks.
They got his whole license out here for everybody to see. This is crazy.
Showing you states 21 mm. Do you see a firearm in this photo?
Yes.
Is this one firearm that you that was collected that evening?
Yes, it is.
All right. Showing you states 22 mm, and I'm going to zoom in. Can you from the
It's a great gun.
zoom tell what the make and model of that firearm is?
It's a Smith & Wesson, and it looks to be a model 4013 TSW.
Okay. And from this image, can you tell what the serial number is associated with this firearm?
It's a little hard to read. It appears to be
I know, John, it just looks bad.
VJ9116, possibly.
Now showing you state 23 mm. Do you see a piece of clothing behind the driver seat in this photo?
Yes.
Is that piece of clothing the black hoodie that was recovered from that vehicle that evening?
I don't recall if it was recovered or not, but it appears to be a black hoodie.
Is that the same black hoodie that was detailed in the report, at least?
I can't say to that. I don't know.
All right. Now showing you states 25. Do you see any gloves in the center console?
Yes.
And what color are the gloves that you see?
The glove appears to be black.
All right. Showing you states 26 mm. Is that still the same glove with better color perspective?
Yes, and it looks like there's another glove behind it.
Not another glove. Where's, oh, no, I can't say that. Rest in peace, I guess.
Showing you states 27 mm.
To OJ. I don't know what we're doing there.
Describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is depicted here.
Depiction here is suspected marijuana.
That sound is not me. That's the courtroom, y'all.
28 mm. Can you describe for the ladies and gentlemen? Is this a closer view of the serial number associated with the rifle-style firearm that was located in the vehicle?
Yes, it is.
And what is the make and model of this firearm?
Looks like the picture's cut off a little bit. It's a 75 Sporter, caliber 7.62. I can't see the
board.
It's cut off. I can't see the.
What's the serial number?
The serial number is going to be the A0-1820-82RO.
Okay. Publishing for you. Excellent. I'm going to forego that. Okay. A few more questions for you. Would like to ask you, after the two occupants of the
Justin, that's
vehicle
funny.
were taken into custody, where were they transported?
They would have been transported to the Fulton County Jail.
Are you sure about that?
I mean, we did have Grady EMS out
Objection
there.
asked and answered.
Yep.
Overruled.
We had Grady EMS on the scene, so as long as they're cleared by Grady, they would be transported to Fulton County Jail. If they deemed that they needed more medical attention, they would go to the hospital.
He didn't answer the question the
And
way he
the
wanted.
items, what was done with the vehicle, to your recollection, that was driven by them that evening?
The vehicle had been sent to impound.
And the items that were recovered from inside the vehicle, and what was done with those?
They would be transported by myself and Officer Munson to the city annex to be put into evidence.
With incidents that happen at the APD, that APD responds to, are they given APD case numbers?
Yes.
And do you know the APD case number associated with this incident?
Yeah, it'd be right here on the report in front of me.
Tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what the APD case number is.
Is it okay if I read it right from there?
You can look at it and
Okay.
recall
All
it.
right.
Okay, what is that?
152740150.
And as it stands for this case, with respect to your involvement, did that conclude your involvement with this matter?
Yes.
State has no further questions for this witness.
Oh,
All right, are there defense questions for this witness?
No, I have questions.
Okay.
He just asked.
Good
he
morning.
Asked not to be shown.
Is it Agent Doherty?
Agent Doherty, yes.
Agent Doherty. Good morning, Agent Doherty. My name is Doug Weinstein. I'm the attorney for Diamante Kendrick. So I have a few questions. You were, as you testified, that you are the person that apprehended Mr. Arnold, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you tased Mr. Arnold in order to apprehend him, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you knee Mr. Arnold in the back?
I don't recall that.
Did you spit on him?
No.
Would that have been appropriate to do?
Objection, Your Honor, relevant.
Sustained.
Would it have been appropriate if your partner kneed and spit on Mr. Kendrick after tasing him?
I'm not objecting the same grounds, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Okay.
What's going on here?
After this arrest, were you ever called to testify? And I'm speaking specifically regarding my client, Mr. Kendrick. After this arrest, were you ever called to testify at any hearing, trial, or sentencing for Mr. Kendrick?
I don't recall if I was or not.
Are you aware of Mr. Kendrick being sentenced for his possession of a firearm and serving time with regard to this incident?
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
All right, are there other defense attorneys with questions for this witness?
On behalf of this.
All right, is there any redirect?
State has no redirect for this.
All right, Agent, thank you for your time, and you are excused. And we're going to take
No, we're not.
a quick break right now,
All
and
gas,
we'll
no
have
breaks.
y'all back in a few minutes.
All gas, no breaks. Y'all know what time it is. Shout out to the super chats. Let's read a couple of these super chats real quick, and then we'll get right back to it. Shout out to Nick in here with the 2-bomb says, I'm hoping for a mistrial. Well, you got to talk to Judge Whitaker about that because I don't think she's budging. And then we got my guy, Mr. Spiffy, has been a member for 1 month. He says, ultimately.
Right, and so what we have ultimately is that there is no evidence, none.
That is the sound clip of this entire trial. Nick in here also dropped the 149 with the super sticker. Shout out to Nicholas with the 2-bomb as well. Just
hey everybody, thank you so
love.
much for watching our coverage
shout
of
out
the
to
Young
Long
Thug.
Crime, but we are not doing that. Y'all can get your commercials off at another time. I'm gonna pause it right there. Also, shout out to Amy dropping the 10-bomb. She said happy banana anniversary. Oh my gosh. I'll never forget that Music Morning Show 5 months ago. Yeah. Shout out to Ye and his banana. Yo, that's a long story. I'll tell that story one day, but yeah, shout out to Amy. That was a Music Morning Show I will never forget either. And shout out to Amy for being here, always showing love, man. I wish I could tell that story. Nick is in the building, dropped the 2-bomb as well. Thank you. And then we had Brian up in here, dropped the 2-bomb as well. Says, best dang show on the webs. You already know. We over here doing our thing. And then Amy, of course, gifted 10 memberships. If you got a membership from Amy, make sure that you say thank you and show her some love. A lot of benefits come with being a member over here, including getting instant access to any videos that we drop here on the ClassE Beats YouTube channel. So thank you to Amy. Shout out to the Bananaversary. Happy Bananaversary, Amy. That is great. Let me see. What are y'all saying? Goner Dang is in here. Says, ClassE, do we have an estimation on how many more witnesses are left? I heard they got rid of a few hundred, and I think we have 100 or so left. So honestly, I don't know. I could try and see if I could find something, but it's looking like at least 100 plus. So we're going to keep it moving. Let's push through this break. Shout out to Law and Crime.
That
and Max is
proposed
arguing.
jury
Hold on a second
instruction may.
There we go.
Actually, I see one alteration that already needs to be put. You are to consider, I think it would read better, you are to consider those statements only against Mr. Stillwell and only for the offenses for which he is charged.
It was around the 90s. I think it's 100 plus, but maybe as of yesterday it was under 100.
So thoughts,
I'll see if I can find out.
comments?
Because they got through a good bit of witnesses.
I believe
that's
that,
what I heard last too.
That proposed jury instruction may be a bit overbroad as it applies to Mr. Stillwell, because I don't believe if there's any relevance at all. I mean, I kind of feel like there's no relevance any of this against Mr. Stillwell, period, but I understand we need to distinguish the co-defendants from Mr. Stillwell because Mr. Stillwell's words, but I would say to count one, Mr. Stillwell to count one if you deem it appropriate.
All right.
I think because
Count
it's
one.
a speedy trial,
All right.
Chris, that changes
Make
things,
that
but I'll have
alteration.
to double check that. But I believe if there's a mistrial, that would be it. Let me see. Oh, wow. Yeah. No, Fanny's not dropping it. Hey, no way. Fanny Willis is not letting this thing go.
For some counts and not others. When this happens, that evidence may be considered by you, the jury,
I'm not a lawyer, Chris.
only as to the party against whom it is offered and only for the count for which it is offered and not against any other defendant or for any other count or purpose. During the testimony of the next witness, you are going to hear about statements made by defendant Stillwell, also known as Jackson. You are to consider those statements only against Mr. Stillwell and only as to count one. You may not consider those statements in any way in determining the guilt or innocence of any other defendant in this case besides Mr. Stillwell. And I can add again the any other count if you'd like that said again. Well, statements. You may not consider those statements as to any other count, and you may not consider those statements in any way in determining the guilt or innocence of any other defendant in this case besides Mr. Stillwell.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Percival. Your Honor, may I approach with a matter? And
Yes.
It has nothing to do with the case. But
Yes, and everybody can go ahead and use the restroom.
Your Honor, may I just make sure that we maintain, on behalf of Mr. Nichols, that we maintain our objection to the admissibility of this evidence regardless? Yes, thank you. And also, I think I speak on behalf of everyone else that they maintain their objection on the admissibility of the evidence.
Does everybody else?
Yes.
Okay, sure.
So this is the issue they had earlier that Max Sharp was referring to. Seems like they got everything sorted out, but no. Yeah, we're all here learning together. I'm definitely not an attorney / lawyer, but we're going to figure it out as we go along, y'all, and learn some things up in here. Appreciate everybody who's in here giving comment as well. Here we go. Good morning, y'all.
Somebody for everybody, yep. Yes, 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 yes. All right. Is the jury ready? All right, y'all have your next witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you want me to do the limiting instruction, I guess, before we call him?
You can, Your Honor. That's going to come up towards the end of my direct.
Okay.
It's up to the court.
Mr. Sharp, do you want, and everybody, defense, do y'all want me to do the instruction before the witness starts testifying or just right before he gets to that part of his testimony?
I'm fine with it before he starts testifying.
I can't hear you. What?
Go ahead, Mr.
Thank you, Finding Good.
Your Honor, would you do it with the state signal to the court and you do
Sure.
it right
Yeah.
before the targeted testimony?
Yeah. So, Mr. Atkins, just give me a signal when you're getting to that part.
Mr. Brown, make sure you give me your examples. Okay.
Yeah, even 90 witnesses insane. So even if it's 90, that's still a lot. And maybe finally we can get the state to rest.
Thank you. All right, you can call your next witness to the stand.
State calls Investigator Griffin to the stand.
That poor chair.
And his investigator, Griffin, already testified in this case.
No, Your Honor, he has not.
All right.
So he should be sworn in.
Yes, I do.
First and last name, and spell it for the court.
Yes, sir. Good morning. My first name is Howard, spelled Howard. Last name is Griffin. That's Griffin.
Shout out to Mr. Howard.
And I am a junior.
Good morning, Investigator Griffin. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Can you tell the jury where did you come in from to testify?
I flew in from the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas.
What do you do in that area?
I'm actually a detective for a small agency. The city is called Plano, and I'm currently a detective for that agency.
What kind of cases do you work for the Plano Police Department in Texas?
For Plano Police Department, I'm assigned to a unit called the Capers Unit, and what that simply means is any crime against a person, so it could be a misdemeanor or a felony. I'd be a detective that would investigate that kind of crime.
How long have you been with that department?
I've been with Plano since April of 2000.
Now, did you ever work for any other agencies before then?
I did. I started my law enforcement career with the City of Atlanta, Atlanta Police Department. I got hired in April of 2008, and I left the city November 2019.
Now, when you left the department, what were you working? What kind of cases?
At that particular time, I was assigned to the homicide unit, and I was in that unit, in that role for just under 5 years.
What year did you start with the homicide unit of the Atlanta Police Department?
In March of 2015.
And before working for homicide, what was your role right before then?
Before I was assigned to the homicide unit, I was assigned to the Atlanta Police Special Victims Unit as a detective and as a police officer, and I investigated crimes against children.
Now, I wanted to ask you, were you the lead detective on the murder of Tiara Jones?
Yes, I was.
Can you tell the jury how you came to work that case?
Yes. The City of Atlanta Police Department at the time, we had a homicide rotation. It just so happened that I was the top of that rotation. So anytime somebody lost their life, they would call a detective to respond, and it was my turn to actually respond.
What day did you respond?
I believe the date was September 26, 2015.
And when you, where did you go to? Where was the crime scene?
I was initially told to go to the intersection of Hank Aaron and Milton. And when I got to that intersection, of course, I saw an accident. And I think the address that I noted in the police report was 40 Milton Avenue.
Now, what part of Atlanta are those addresses that you responded to?
I think at the time it was the Zone 3 district of Atlanta. So that would be more like southeast of the city.
Now, when you got on scene, how many victims were there?
At that location, there was only one victim. That was actually a deceased young lady by the name of Tiara Jones.
Oh, man.
And it was brought to my attention that there were 2 more victims, and they were taken to Grady Hospital.
Who were those 2 other victims?
The 2 other victims, female front passenger, her name was Shakoya Duncan.
Jones?
And the back passenger was Shannon Jackson.
Now, Detective Griffin, I want to approach you with what's been marked as 1 Triple Delta Papa through
Papa
24 Triple Delta Papa.
Why does he say it like that? Oh, man. Why does he say it like that?
Investigator Griffin, before you
is it Kiara
were on the
Jones?
stand, did you have an opportunity to look through those photographs?
Yes, I did.
And what are they?
These are crime scene photographs taken by the crime scene tech who responded at my request.
And are they a fair and accurate depiction of the crime scene photographs for this incident?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to tender into evidence
I know, Cal.
1 through 3 Triple Delta Papa and 5 through 24 Triple Delta Papa.
They're admitted.
Now, Investigator Griffin, it's going to come up on the screen before you. I'm going to publish and walk through a few of these exhibits.
Okay.
Papa.
You also got a couple options behind you. You got a big board there and one behind you. So whichever one works best for you. Thank you. Yes. So I'm going to publish 1 Triple Delta Papa. Now, Investigator Griffin, is this the street that you were mentioning, Hank Aaron and Milton Avenue?
That's correct. That's the intersection that I was assigned to go to.
I'm going to publish the next exhibit. Can you describe for the jury what we see in this exhibit?
This is an overturned vehicle operated by the decedent, Miss Tiara Jones. I forget the year, but it was a green in color. I think it was a Mountaineer, Mercury Mountaineer.
Now, when you first responded, Did you know any of the facts and circumstances behind what happened?
No. So as it was initially described to me, they thought it was just an accident. As a result, the hit and run unit came and they responded. So they initially processed the crime scene. And then some officers took note of some defects in the rear lift gate, which they thought it might have been from a projectile. And as a result, they started looking for shell casings, which they found. And because they found that, that's when they called me and asked that I respond.
I'm going to publish the next exhibit. Where were some of the shell casings in relation to the vehicle that was overturned?
So again, if you have the intersection of Hank Aaron and Milton, maybe 50 yards, which is where the accident is. So in between that distance, that's where the shell cases were lined in the street.
I'm going to publish the next exhibit. Now, what type of shell casings were on scene?
I believe we located 12 spent casings. I think the caliber was a .762.
And do you have familiarity as a homicide detective with shell casings and guns that fire them?
Yes, I know enough to know that that came from an assault rifle or an assault rifle pistol, something of that caliber, but it's an assault rifle.
Now, what did you do? I'm going to publish the next exhibit, but ask you a question. What did you do with the shell casings you collected?
Actually, the crime scene technician that responded, she's the one that actually collected them, and then she gave them to me. And what I did was brought them to Atlanta Police, put a barcode on them, and placed them in the property as evidence.
I'm going to publish the next exhibit. Is this a close-up of one of the 7.62 shell cartridges that you collected?
That's correct.
And this is 12 triple delta Papa. Publishing the next exhibit. This is 15 triple delta Papa. And going to publish 17 triple delta Papa. 19 triple delta Papa. 22 triple delta Papa. And 24 triple delta Papa. Now, Investigator Griffin, with the defects you had mentioned in the vehicle, where were they on the car? The front, the side, the back?
From what I noted, they were in the back near the lift gate.
And were there any firearms that you found on scene?
Yes, I think it was Officer Clayton. He was the first to respond, and he actually found a semi-automatic handgun. I think the caliber was a .45 caliber Springfield.
Papa, not Papa.
Where was that .45 caliber Springfield in relation to the vehicle?
As he noted in his report, it was feet away from the vehicle.
It's Papa.
Now, after you cleared this scene, did you have any initial leads, or what were your next steps?
No. So the only lead that I had is we had 2 surviving victims, and they were taken to Grady Hospital. So what I did was after I left this crime scene, I went to the hospital to hopefully try to speak to the 2 that were alive.
Were you able to go to Grady? Is that where you went to Grady?
I went to Grady Hospital. That's correct.
When you got to Grady, who did you encounter?
I spoke to the front passenger, Shakoya Duncan, and the rear passenger, Shannon Jackson.
What kind of condition were they in when you met them that day?
Shakoya Duncan, she had a severely injured leg. I think at one point they were talking about it may have had to get amputated, but I'm not sure if that actually happened. So she was in the process of going to have surgery. And Shannon Jackson had, if I'm not mistaken, a lung and a rib injury.
Were you able to speak with them about what happened?
I spoke with both of them briefly. Again, given their condition, I didn't want to have a detailed interview, so I spoke with them briefly.
Now, after speaking with them, what did you do next?
The next thing I did was, of course, try to do some research on the individuals that were inside the vehicle. We call it just a generic search to see if I can find anything about what happened and possibly who done it. And what I was able to find out is that the young man in the back seat, Shannon Jackson.
Objection, Your Honor. May we approach?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Max does not play when Shannon's name is brought up, aka Shannon Stillwell. All right, we're gonna skip the BS. Interesting point, Chris. Chris says the defense only won a mistrial when they thought they were going to lose. They don't want one now. What do y'all think? That's a great. I'm gonna put that in the poll. Interesting
Investigator
point, Chris.
Griffin.
I'm gonna ask y'all what you think.
When you worked homicides in APD, did you ever consult with the APD gang unit?
Often.
What were the circumstances when you would on a case you were working?
The way that our department was worked.
Interesting.
Sustained.
You said this was September 26, 2015. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you ever have any consultation with anyone in the Atlanta Police Department gang unit to assist you in this investigation?
I did.
Without saying what they said, when was it that they began assisting you?
Within the first 1 or 2 days of the initial investigation.
And after consulting with them, what investigative steps did you take next?
We went back to the hospital to actually go speak with Shakoya Duncan and Shannon Jackson, and I brought those detectives with me to assist.
Without saying what anyone said on this date, were you able to speak with both of them?
I was.
What other personnel, detectives, were with you when you went to visit them?
With me was Detective Dennis, Detective Gaither, and Detective Edwards.
After that secondary follow-up at Grady, what did you do next in your investigation?
Again, tried to go hand out flyers in the community, just try to elicit any help from anybody. And so again, I spoke to a lot of different people who knew the family of the deceased, and of course knew the surviving victims.
Now, let me ask you this. Were you ever able to establish a location of where that vehicle may have been before where it was found at the crime scene?
Yes, I was.
What was that location?
The address was 1192 Pryor. That is it's like a Chevron, JJ's Chicken, and I think there's another restaurant right there.
Now, were you ever able to, or did you try to get any surveillance from that location?
I did. Part of those investigative steps, myself and another detective went to try to find cameras in all those businesses, and we were able to find some cameras in a few of those businesses over there.
Without saying what anyone said, did you have any information or possible directions to go from your conversations at the hospital before getting that surveillance?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did you have any, without saying what anyone told you, did you have any possible leads for what you would be looking at in that surveillance video when you obtained it?
Yes, a specific vehicle was of interest to me.
Now, when you obtained that surveillance video, did any specific vehicle stand out to you in relation to the vehicle that T.R. Jones was in?
Yes, specifically a red Camaro.
Now, did you do any investigative work on this red Camaro?
I did.
What did you who had that red Camaro?
I found out that the vehicle was actually owned by Enterprise, and it was rented to a young lady by the name of, excuse me if I mispronounce her name, Archillian Bennett.
Archillian.
Sustained.
Now, Detective Griffin, in your investigation, did an Archillian Bennett ever come up?
It did.
And did you ever come to learn where she lived?
Yes, I did.
Where did she reside?
An address off of...
Your Honor, I'm not asking what anyone told him. Investigator Griffin, Are you familiar with the Trestle Tree Apartments?
I am.
How are you familiar with them as an Atlanta Police Department homicide detective?
Well, specifically with this case, that address popped up, and I drove over there a couple of times.
So you physically went to that address?
I did.
What street is that address?
I don't know the address, but the street is Confederate.
And was that street, and specifically Trestle Tree Apartments, of note to you when you were looking into Arshillian Bennett?
Yes, it is.
Now, after getting that surveillance video, was there any suspects, or let me ask you this. That red Camaro, what was significant about that car in relation to the vehicle that T.R. Jones was in terms of the people in that vehicle, or what they did in relation to the vehicle?
Could you say that one more time?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
What stood out to you about, was there anything suspicious about the people in and around that red Camaro that stood out to you?
The people did. The people stuck out to me. Again, just from looking at the surveillance videos, their interaction with Tiara Jones and Miss Shakoya Duncan.
Now, is there any restaurant at that location?
Yes.
What restaurant is it?
The one specifically that was of note is JJ's Chicken.
And was anyone in the vehicle with T.R. Jones inside that restaurant at any point?
Mr. Shannon Jackson.
And were you ever able to locate any other surveillance video other than at that location?
Other than that location, yes.
And did that assist your investigation?
It did.
Can you explain for the jury how it did?
Well, I got a direction of travel that Tiara Jones went. So what I did was drive that route that was explained to me. And any place that I found cameras, I reached out to the place of business to see if we can try to get surveillance footage.
Your Honor, I'm approaching the witness with what's been marked as 25 Triple Delta Papa. Investigator Griffin, do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
This is a snapshot of a route that I took and I put in my police report.
Is it a fair and accurate depiction of what you created in this investigation?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to tender into evidence 25 Triple Delta Papa.
It's admitted.
And Your Honor, publishing that exhibit for the jury. Now, Investigator Griffin, I want to see if I can find this old school pointer. And Your Honor, if I may, does the court by chance have the wooden pointer up on the bench?
I don't know what happened to that.
That's all right,
Give
Your
it
Honor.
back to me, so.
I will, oh, I found it.
All right.
So, Investigator Griffin, I'm going to hand you this. If you don't mind, you can use this board if it helps you. And so, I want to ask you a couple of things first. And I'm going to try to zoom in to the best that I can.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to orient. Can you show the jury where the crime scene was, where the vehicle was found?
The vehicle was found in this address. This is the address that I put, which is 40 Milton Avenue.
And what is that 1192 prior?
1192 prior, that is where JJ's Chicken is in the Chevron gas station.
Now, what is this blue line that is connecting those two addresses?
This blue line, this is the route that I took from the initial spot where the vehicle was found, meaning the red Camaro. So I drove the route that was explained to me, and I did a dry run to see how long it was going to take me to get from that point all the way to the crime scene.
And what vehicle was Miss Tiara Jones driving?
Miss Tiara Jones was driving the green Mountaineer.
And was the red Camaro at 1192 prior?
Yes, it was.
And I wanted to ask you to orient, do you see a Veneer Avenue on this map?
Yes, I do. It's right here.
Do you see a McDaniel Street?
McDaniel Street, yes, McDaniel Street's going to be over here.
Now, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Do you see a Hendricks Avenue?
Hendricks Avenue, yes, I do. Right here.
Do you see a Pryor Street Southwest?
Pryor Street is going to be on this side.
Do you see it between I-85 and Hendricks Avenue, a Pryor Street?
Yes, this is going to be Pryor right here.
And do you see at the top, is there a Cooper Street Southwest?
Cooper Street, yes. Cooper Street is right here.
And two to the right of that, what's that street?
Formwell.
And what's to the right of Formwell?
Formwell, and you have Pryor Street.
And why is it, Investigator Griffin, that, well, let me ask you this.
Oh, I'm not saying anything, my dear.
Does this appear to go in a roundabout way?
Yes, it does.
And why is that?
Well, again, if you're familiar with the area, there's many different ways to get to this location. So from my investigation, I was under the impression that the red Camaro went this direction, and I wanted to, again, get a picture of how long it would take to get from this side of town to where I believe people of interest may have resided, back over to the crime scene, which is 40 Milton Avenue.
Was there any other vehicles that caught your attention other than the red Camaro?
Yes, there was a black sedan. I don't know the make and model, but there was a black sedan.
Was there anything from reviewing the surveillance that indicated to you those cars, either the people or vehicles, had similar movements?
It appeared they had similar movements. Again, I wasn't able to definitively prove that, but it appeared that they had similar movements.
Now, what was some other steps in your investigation after you did this test drive route?
Again, my goal was to try to speak to anybody that can help me with any type of information. And we started looking into social media accounts of interest.
You can sit back down if you want to.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now, Investigator Griffin, was there a specific social media account that became of interest to you?
There was one in particular.
And what was the handle?
I believe it was P92 something. I think it was P92H.
Now, in
Cuff Boys is
2015,
good too.
would Instagram come up in your investigations?
It would.
Or other social media?
It would.
And how would you capture relevant social media investigations you worked?
Twofold. If the account was private, then I would try to obtain some kind of legal process, would be in the form of a search warrant. Or if it was open to the public, I would try to scroll, look at the pictures, look at friends, and just try to capture what I'm seeing by taking screenshots and add them to the case file.
Now, Investigator Griffin, throughout your investigation, did you periodically have either assistance or consultation with either Detective Dennis or Detective Gaither?
Primarily Detective Dennis.
Now, from this social media, were you ever able to identify any suspects that were at 1192 Pryor that you believe could have been involved in the incident?
Yes, I did.
And did you capture or record those social media?
Yes, I did with the screenshots. Like I mentioned, took a screenshot or a snapshot of it and included it in my police report.
Now, I'm going to approach you with 26 and 27 Triple Delta Papa.
Papa.
That is correct.
Siri.
Investigator Griffin, when you get a chance, just look up at me when you're done.
Okay, I've looked at them.
What are those?
These are some of the
Grace.
photographs that
Shout
I
out to
found in that
Amazing
specific
Grace.
social media account. And again, I took a picture of it and included it in my police report.
And did it have, so is there a fair and accurate depiction of some social media you gathered in this investigation?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, the state's going to tender into evidence 26 and 27 Triple Papa.
Papa.
Triple D.
Or, excuse
Papa.
me,
All right.
Triple D Papa. Yes, Your Honor.
Desert Meta.
Thank you.
Papa. Why he says it like that, Lauren? It's crazy. I grew up with
Now,
all military around me, so.
Investigator
Killing me,
Griffin, did
Lauren.
you, I'm going to publish first 26 Triple Delta Papa. should come up on the screen momentarily. And you may need that pointer again if it's nearby.
It's painful. Oh, Grace is sick. Oh, no. Hope you feel better, Grace.
Now I'm going to try to zoom in some on it.
Y'all type get
And
well soon to Grace in the chat.
Can you give me 1 second? Hold on. Okay.
Mr. Tesla
There's
said get well now.
a slight
Dang,
delay,
that's
but
a
it's
little
going to zoom in
aggressive.
here in 1 second.
Jeez. Hey, thank you for your service, Anthony. Papa.
So, Investigator Griffin, while that's coming up, can you help orient for the jury people of interest in this investigation that are depicted in 26 Triple Delta Papa?
Again, are you wanting me to say their names or nicknames?
Yes, you can say both, please.
Okay. This gentleman
Thank you,
right
AB.
here, Jamal
It's
Ward.
rough.
The young lady sitting next to him is Archillian Bennett. This young man right here, I forget how to pronounce his first name, but his first initial is D. Last name was Lewis. This gentleman right here is Bobby Hardy, aka Smoke. And his nickname, I think, was Murrow. And this young man, I think he had a nickname of Ola Player, something similar to that.
Thank you.
And without saying what anyone said, in your investigation, did you ever speak with who you identify with the nickname Smoke?
Yes, I did speak with Smoke.
And in your investigation, did you ever come to have any information from the surveillance that he was present at that gas station before the vehicle with Shannon Stillwell, T.R. Jones, and Miss Duncan left?
That is correct.
I want to also publish for you what's been admitted as 27 Triple Delta Papa. Okay. While I'm getting this Zoom back up line, I'm going to keep. Okay, just let me. Your Honor, this may be a.
All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to give you all a limiting instruction at this point. Sometimes evidence is admitted against some parties and not others, or for some counts and not others. When this happens, that evidence can be considered by you, the jury, only as to the party against whom it is offered, and only for the count for which it is offered, and not against any other defendant or for any other count or purpose. In the next part of this witness's testimony, you're going to hear about statements made by defendant Shannon Stillwell, also known as Shannon Jackson. You are to consider those statements only against Mr. Stillwell and only as to count one. You may not consider those statements as to any other count, and you may not consider those statements in any way in determining the guilt or innocence of any other defendant in this case besides Mr. Stillwell.
Now, Investigator Griffin, did you ever have a third conversation with Shannon Stillwell?
I did.
When was that, time-wise?
I believe it was the 2nd of November, 2015.
And in all your interviews you had with him, in this case, was he a victim, a witness, a suspect? What was he?
No, Shannon Jackson is, matter of fact, a victim in this case.
And when you spoke with him in November, where were you?
In November, I was at Atlanta Police Headquarters. I think the address is 226 Peachtree, if I believe that's correct.
And is that where that interview took place?
Thank you, Grace.
That is.
Jeez.
Were you able to get more information in that interview than you were prior?
I was.
Now, do investigators have different interview techniques?
Absolutely.
What is your technique when you're speaking with a witness, a victim, anybody?
Well, I try to be relatable. That's first and foremost. So for the most part, I talk how I would normally talk when I'm not at work. Sometimes I use slang, sometimes I curse, but that's just the way that I speak.
Now, in that interview, can you tell for the jury did Shannon Stillwell give you any clarity about what happened before they got to 1192 prior?
He did.
Can you describe for the jury how that started? What Shannon Stillwell told you in relation to that?
And specifically what he told me,
Or, you know, what he said about the events prior to arriving at that location?
It was pretty organic, meaning he was just going to go pick up his child, and en route to go do so, they wanted to get something to eat.
And were both Miss Duncan and Miss
Stillwell is the
Jones
alias,
in the vehicle with him?
That's correct. Mrs. Sierra Jones was the driver, and Shakoya Duncan was the front passenger.
And what did he tell you happened when they got to that location?
When they got to that location, he meaning Mr. Jackson, went inside to get his food. He waited inside for his food to get done. And while he was inside waiting for his food, that's when he took note of the red Camaro and the individuals that were inside of that red Camaro.
Now, did you ever ask him, or did he ever say in that interview that he recognized anybody at the gas station location?
At the gas station, he specifically said he recognized Bobby Hardy, which is Smoke, and Jamal Ward, which is Merrill.
Were those two individuals in that Instagram photograph we had displayed a few moments ago?
Yes, they were.
Now, what did he say in relation to seeing them there?
Again, he noted that they were there, number one, and he noted that
This is what
Mr.
took
Bobby
place in the
Hardy
interview.
actually approached the vehicle and spoke with either Tiara Jones or Shakoya Duncan. Again, he kept making reference to they, that's where they hang out at. So I got the impression from the interview, he was just aware of them being present.
And did Shannon Stillwell indicate to you that he was friendly, not friendly? Was there any significance to seeing those specific people that day?
Yeah, he was not friendly. Again, I don't want to give the impression that he was like on edge, but he, as he expressed to me, he was just aware of them, and they're not friends, they're not associates. And again, he took note of them, and he brought to my attention another incident that took place.
Now, I want to ask you, what did he say happened once he got, did he ever get his food and walk outside?
He did. So he got his food and walked back to the vehicle. And at that time, that's when Mrs. Shakoya Duncan decided to go into the store that Mr. Jackson had just left.
Okay. And what happened next? What did he say happened once they got in the car?
Once they all finally got back into the car, he said that they drove off. I think the Camaro had left first and went to the left. And when they got into their vehicle, the driver was instructed to turn right, which would be north on Pryor. And they were going back to where he lived.
Now, Investigator Griffin, got it. Now that the technology's back working, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit for you. Can you orient the jury? Is this another social media post that you pulled in this investigation?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's the Camaro.
Now, do you recognize that area?
I do.
What neighborhood is it?
That's the Trussell Tree community.
And who in this photograph specifically was someone that you were looking at in this investigation?
Again, this is the owner of the account. That's Mr. Lewis, and that's Mr. Kelvin Watts, a.k.a. Shell Cal.
And what does that gentleman on the far right shirt say?
It's an A and a B and a G.
And Investigator Griffin, when you were speaking with Defendant Stillwell, did he ever identify for you other people that he believed were either in that red Camaro or close by at the gas station?
Yes, he did.
Who were the people he identified?
He identified Bobby Hardy, Jamal Ward, and Kelvin Watts.
And when you were speaking with him, did y'all do any type of photo lineup?
Yes, a photo lineup was shown.
And what did he describe about what he remembered while they were driving after leaving the gas station but before any shooting took place?
What he described was seeing the red Camaro coming down at a fast rate of speed. It was probably coming south on Pryor, And then he said when he turned the corner, he heard a large revving of an engine, and he said he just took note of the headlights, that it looked like the Camaro that he had saw at the gas station.
And did he say he heard a couple, a few, or a lot of shots?
I believe he gave a count of upwards of 20, is what he told me.
Now, after that interview, and was that in November?
That's correct.
What else did you do in your investigation?
Well, I did obtain warrants for the 3 individuals that the victim identified, but the investigation continues. So, again, we try to wait for cell phone records so they could be analyzed, and again, just making myself available to anybody that wanted to speak with me as it relates to this investigation.
And Investigator Griffin, did you, after you took out the arrest warrants, did you ever become aware of any of the individuals that an arrest warrant was taken out of that were not indicted?
That is correct.
Who was that individual?
Kelvin Watts.
Now, I want to also ask you and show you something very briefly. I'm going to mark this as 29 Triple Delta Papa.
No.
And
Papa.
One brief moment, Your Honor.
Man, Mr. Brown and Mr. Atkins with these brief moments, man.
Now, Investigator Griffin, I'm showing you what's been marked as
Sean.
29 Triple Delta Papa.
Why they're bringing this back up?
What is that?
This is my lead supplement that I submitted to the DA's office.
And I'm going to grab that back from you. Thank you. Is it a fair and accurate depiction of your report in this case?
Yes, it is.
Now, after you took out arrest warrants, did you ever come to learn of any part of your report in 29 Triple Delta Papa that publicly got released?
I was.
How did that come about in terms of what publicly in your report was out there that you saw?
Well, I saw a snapshot of my police report with the picture of the victim in that case, Shannon Jackson.
Now, I'm going to approach you with what's been marked as 28 Triple Delta Papa. Do you recognize that, Investigator Griffin?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
Well, it's a snapshot of my police report that I wrote and submitted to the district attorney's office.
And is it any kind of social media?
Yes, there is a social media account attached with it as well.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of the social media account you saw in relation to the release of your report?
I believe so.
Your Honor, at this time, the state is going to tender into evidence 28 Triple Delta Papa.
Don't say Papa.
Admitted.
I'm going to publish this exhibit, Investigator Griffin, and ask you just a couple questions.
I'm just going to say it before he says it. I'll try and catch it, Lauren. I got you.
Now I'm going to zoom in at the top right. What is the handle associated with this account?
It's going to be
Oh, that's Shannon right there.
YFN. If you can slide it down just a little bit, please.
Can you see it now?
I can. It'll be YFNBC _ Nutlife. NUTLIFE.
And on the left-hand side,
that's crazy.
Who is that a picture of?
That's a picture of the victim, Shannon Jackson.
And is that is this something from what you just referenced, your report of 29 Triple Delta Papa on the left?
Yes, that's the image from my police report.
And without saying what anything said, was there commentary or comments about this?
There was.
And was the general nature of them positive or negative?
Object. I know it doesn't involve this about.
Sustained.
Was this of concern to you when you saw this?
It was for me, yes.
Why?
One, my police report is now being published on social media. And two, again, Mr. Shannon Jackson in this particular case was a victim. So that's concerning because they're insinuating something that I didn't appreciate.
No, we are not members of Nut Life. What the heck? Hey, yo. Man, Nut Life is great. I've already said it 4 times today. These Atlanta gangs are never gonna live this down. I just hope y'all know. Atlanta, we gotta figure this out. I mean, we might have to end up.
No further questions. Thank you.
All right.
Thank God.
you. Cross.
We know Max is gonna get up there. You bring up Shannon's name, Max is walking to the stand. Look at him.
May it please the court, Your Honor.
Ooh, AB thinks he leaked his own report.
Investigator Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell, okay?
Good morning.
Good morning. At some point, I may ask you about the interview, the November 2nd interview with my client.
Okay.
Can I bring up a transcript? I don't want you to read it, but if you need to refer to it, I want you to have it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. May I approach?
You may.
So.
Investigator Griffin, you spoke to my client 3 times in regards to this incident, correct?
That's correct, I did.
All right. And you viewed him as a victim.
Yes, absolutely he is.
And you still view him as a victim?
I still do.
Okay. And on direct, you said you try to be relatable.
Mm-hmm.
In these interviews that are all recorded,
yes,
you treated Mr. Stillwell with respect, did you
but
not?
he doesn't know who
I
did
believe
it.
so.
Shannon
okay,
doesn't know
and I
who shot
appreciate
at him.
that. Mr. Stillwell treated you with respect, correct?
Yes, he did.
Okay. You tried to be kind to Mr. Stillwell.
Yes, sir.
I want to talk to you about the facts as you understand them based on your investigation and what Shannon told you in that interview.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about Miss Duncan, Miss Jones, and Shannon Stillwell, who you referred to as Shannon Jackson.
Yes, I apologize if that's not.
No, that's fine. That's fine. In a gray SUV, correct?
I think the color is actually green, but
green. Okay.
It can be mistaken as gray.
Okay. And what make and model is that car?
It was a Mercury Mountaineer. I don't know the year though.
Okay, that's fine. So they're in a Mercury Mountaineer during this incident.
That's correct.
As you understand it, the lead up to this incident is Mr. Stillwell and Miss Duncan had at that time a 10-month-old daughter together, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And as you understand from your investigation, the plan was for Miss Duncan to come pick up Shannon, and Shannon was to go watch the baby at his grandmother's house, correct?
That is correct.
And his grandmother lives, I don't want to give addresses, but the south of Grant Park.
I don't remember, but if you say that's what it is, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
A couple miles from JJ's Fish.
Yes.
Okay. And so Miss Duncan had asked Miss Jones to drive her to pick up Shannon on Lakewood Avenue.
That is correct.
Okay. And Miss Duncan and Miss Jones are friends or knew each other prior to this incident?
That's also correct.
Okay, and your understanding is Mr. Stillwell did not know Miss Jones prior to this incident?
As he explained it to me, he did not know Mrs. Tiara Jones.
Okay.
Tiara Jones. Okay, let me see if I can
Miss
find.
Duncan and Miss Jones is driving her green SUV.
That's correct.
And they pick up Shannon at Lakewood, and they decide to stop at JJ's Fish. It was JJ's Chicken and Fish?
I think it's JJ's Chicken and Fish. Is the
JJ's Chicken and Fish at the corner of University and Pryor, correct?
That's correct.
All right. So, and at JJ's Chicken and Fish, you learned from Shannon that he saw Bobby Hardy. I think he referred to him as Smoke.
That's correct.
And I just want to correct you. I think you said Jamal Ward. You meant Jamal Baines, correct?
No.
Oh, it was Jamal Ward?
That's correct.
Also Merle?
Yes.
Okay. At that location.
1192 Pryor. That's correct.
And he saw them going in and out of a red Camaro.
I think it was in and out of the Chevron and back and forth to the car and inside the Chevron.
And he took note of their presence, but he had no interactions with them at all.
That is correct. He did not have any interaction with them.
Okay. And you were able to obtain the surveillance video from the parking lot of the JJ's Chicken and Fish.
That's correct.
And the surveillance video corroborated that information.
That's correct.
Okay. So,
yeah, I don't know why they're making it complicated.
your understanding, Mr.
Everybody
Stillwell
knows what JJ's is.
goes into the store, orders food, waits for the food that he's going to take back to his grandmother's house.
That is correct.
Okay. And
let's get there,
at some
Max. Come on
point,
now.
the red Camaro leaves, takes a left. Could you do me a favor? Could you put the map up again, please? Thank you, sir. Yeah, no, it's fine.
I misspelled it. Did he get fish or chicken? Was JJ there? Having trouble with the technology today. Take your time, guys. Okay, well, we're going to skip ahead here. There we go.
Okay. At some point on the surveillance video, and according to
Nah, he
the
used
witness
ketchup
statements,
for sure.
that red Camaro, while Mr. Stillwell, Miss Jones, and
Guaranteed he
Miss
used ketchup.
Duncan are still at the JJ's, takes a left out of the parking lot and goes south on Pryor, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And maybe 20, 30 minutes after that car left, the car driven by Miss Jones, the SUV, the green SUV, takes a right out of the JJ's parking lot to head north on Pryor.
That is correct.
Okay. And this route that's depicted on this map is, what is this outline? What does that depict exactly?
Yes. I'm not sure if you want me to tell you what people told me, but
well, is that a route that you drove, or is that your understanding of the route that the SUV driven by Ms. Jones drove?
No, so this is not the route of the SUV. This would be the route of the red Camaro.
Okay, all right, okay. Thank you for that clarification. So the circuitous route is not the route that the SUV driven by Ms. Jones drove?
That is correct. I can show you if you'd like me to, but that is not the route.
Okay. The bottom line is your understanding the SUV was traveling eventually to Mr. Stillwell's grandmother's house.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought it was going to his house. I think they had a disagreement. I could be wrong. But I thought he was going to go to his apartment after they got the food, which is back on the over near Four Seasons. I think that's what I noted in my police report.
Okay. All right. Do you disagree that, and I don't want to talk about specific addresses, but Mr. Jackson gave you, Mr. Stillwell gave you the number of his grandmother?
He did.
And he told you he lived with his grandmother?
I think on two different occasions, yes, he told me he lived with his grandmother, but at another time, he told me he was concerned about getting his house shot up and his grandmother. So I'm not sure if that meant because he lived with his grandmother or if it's two different addresses. But I am of that opinion initially, yes.
Okay. So your understanding is this SUV is traveling in the direction, Ms. Jones is traveling a route that was being dictated to her by Ms. Duncan.
That's correct.
Okay. And in this route, suddenly, a car speeds up behind this SUV that has Mr. Stillwell in the backseat.
That is correct.
Okay. And the engine's revving.
That's correct.
Okay. And there's high definition lights that led Mr. Stillwell to believe that that was the same car he saw in the parking lot of the JJ's.
That's correct.
Okay. And then immediately, well, almost immediately after speeding up behind, gunshots ring out.
That's also correct.
Okay, and there's about 20 shots fired at the green SUV that Ms. Jones, Ms. Duncan, and Mr. Stillwell are in from this car that's speeding up behind them.
That is also correct.
Okay. That green SUV is hit in the rear. What did you say, the rear lift gate?
The rear lift gate, that's correct.
Okay, and also the back windshield was shattered, correct?
That is correct.
And according to Mr. Stillwell, upon being hit, the car starts to roll and flip multiple times.
That's correct.
And of course, sadly, you know through your investigation that the driver of the SUV, Ms. Jones, was hit in the face with one of the bullets fired from the car that was speeding up behind him.
That's also correct.
Okay. And she lost control of the car.
She did.
Dang.
Mr. Stillwell told you when the car finally stopped flipping over multiple times, he couldn't breathe, and Ms. Duncan had her injuries, and sadly, Ms. Jones was deceased.
That's correct.
Okay. The defects that you observed, you took note of the defects in the car.
I did.
And they were all in the rear.
Yeah, the ones that I took note of, they were all in the rear.
Okay. And that is consistent with the information that Mr. Stillwell gave you?
Yes, it was.
Okay. You collected shell casings?
I think approximately 12.
12 shell casings, and they were all from what kind of gun?
The caliber was a .762 caliber.
Okay. And the gun that you found on the scene is not the type of gun that would shoot .762 caliber ammunition?
That is correct.
Okay, and there was no other shell casings found on the scene from any other guns?
No other shell casings, just the ones that I mentioned.
There is absolutely no evidence at all that any shots were fired from that green SUV, is there?
No evidence at all.
Okay. And you, in fact, not only collected video from the JJ's parking lot, but you also drove the route and looked for, were they city-owned video cameras on the street?
I found out they were owned by the city. That is correct.
Okay, how many different cameras did you find on this?
I'm not certain of the exact number. I might have mentioned it in my police report, but I did take note at that intersection. There was what I thought were security cameras or traffic cameras at that intersection of Milton and Hank Aaron.
Okay, and there's also a traffic light at Milton and Hank Aaron, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so, why did you spend your time looking for these surveillance cameras?
Well, again, there was not a lot of people that were willing to tell me what happened or even saw it. So I have to rely on cameras or, of course, the testimony of the witnesses.
Did you view that as an important part of your investigation?
Absolutely.
Did you want to make sure you collected all video in a timely manner?
Absolutely.
All right, great. Okay, the injuries sustained by the three victims in that green SUV. Miss Duncan, who was in the passenger seat, suffered a fractured leg, correct?
That is correct.
And that was, to be clear, that was from the car accident, the car flipping multiple times, not from gunshots.
That is my understanding. It's from the accident.
Okay. My client, Mr. Stillwell, suffered fractured ribs.
Yes, he did.
Collapsed lung. And when you went to go see him, he had back injuries. The hospital had to actually insert a tube into his back, correct?
Well, I didn't know the last part, but I thank you for telling me that. I knew about the first two injuries.
And those were all from the car flipping over after Miss Jones was shot and lost control of the vehicle.
That is my understanding.
Okay, and then, of course, Miss Jones sadly lost her life.
Yes, sir.
And that was due to a gunshot to
It's probably because
her
Woody,
face. Shot from behind.
And Shannon were connected
by that vehicle that was speeding up behind the green SUV.
That's correct.
Okay. I think we established that Shannon prior to this day did not know Tierra Jones.
That is also correct.
It is true that in this interview, Shannon repeatedly expressed remorse for what happened to Tierra.
Yes, he did.
He never suggested that what happened was okay in any way, shape, or form.
No, he didn't, which is, again, I think that contributes to the reason why he was willing to speak with me.
And in fact, he requested to write a letter of remorse to Tierra Jones's family.
That is also correct.
And he did so.
He did.
Okay. You discussed a series of incidents that had occurred to Shannon in 2015 in this interview, correct?
One in particular, I'm not sure if there was several, but one in particular.
One and then this one.
That is correct.
Okay, so you discussed, he brought it up to you that someone had shot at him at the green store.
Yes, he did.
And a bullet grazed his forehead. Okay. And then he in fact told you.
What a life, man.
That people came up to him in a club and said, "You're lucky the gun jammed. Next time it's your ass." Correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, of course, there was this incident.
That's correct.
At the time of this incident, you discussed what was going on with Mr. Stillwell. Mr. Stillwell denied any involvement in the murder of Donovan Thomas, correct?
I don't think I specifically asked him that question. That wouldn't have been the focus of my interview. I think another detective might have asked him that, but I didn't specifically ask him that. That's not something that I was interested in knowing.
Well, at the time of this shooting, you did ask, when you were with the gang investigators, the name Kenneth Copeland or Woody came up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And the truth is that at the time of this shooting of Tierra Jones, Woody was in custody. He was in federal custody, correct?
Yeah.
Well, you might not know where he was, but he was in
Woody.
custody.
That's correct. I did find out later where he was. That is correct.
Okay. And you spoke with Mr. Stillwell about the ongoing beef between Kenneth Copeland, Woody, and Shell Kell.
Yes, I did.
Mr. Stillwell referred to that beef as generational beef between those two individuals, correct?
He did. He did.
He described the situation as they shoot at Woody and his people, Woody shoots back, correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Stillwell was concerned because he felt that people perceived him as Woody's friend.
There you go.
Yes, that is correct.
And that people were now shooting at him because Woody was in custody and they could not get Woody.
That
correct?
makes sense.
I think I can infer that. I'm not sure if he specifically said that, but I was of the same impression.
Okay.
The state's just over there chilling. They're ready for lunch. They're not objecting to
Thank
anything.
you. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Sure. Any other defense attorneys with questions?
Give it up to Max. Okay, we might get through one more
Mr.
across
Witness?
this. Amazing.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mark say you badmouth ClassE, we badmouth you. Let them know, Mark. Gang, gang.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing, sir?
Can I ask you a couple of questions about your efforts to obtain surveillance
We'll let Brian go.
from businesses? I heard you say that at times it has to be done in a timely manner. I think you adopted that statement when asked for you. Is that fair?
That's correct.
Can we just talk about your experiences with video surveillance from businesses for a moment?
Okay.
All right. Do they vary how long the images remain on the hard drive or in the cloud, depending upon the type of system that the business uses?
They do. It depends on the system. Some systems actually are just live feeds, so they're not actually recording. And other devices, of course, will hold it for maybe 1 or 2 days. So it all depends on the actual system and the storage that they have available.
Do you ever see some businesses hold it for more than 1 or 2 days?
Not often, but on occasion, yes. But again, it just depends on their system and the amount of storage that they have available.
Okay. If a surveillance video system holds it for 2 days, let's say, okay? So if it's today and tomorrow, well, let's do it this way. Yesterday and today.
Okay.
Okay? So if you run out today, you can get possibly yesterday's and today's is what I hear you saying. Is that?
More than likely, that's correct.
All right. Now let's say tomorrow comes, the 17th day of October 2024. Does the first day drop off and then you can get today and tomorrow? Is that how the systems work in your opinion?
In my opinion and in my experience, yes. So it will override the one that is the oldest. And so that means that the next one should be available.
So it kind of just makes room.
Everybody
it purges the oldest, makes room for the newest, and however long it's been kept for.
In my experience, that's correct.
Of course. All right. I want to thank you so much. Oh, did you ever see one where it saves for 2 days, or it's preserved for 2 days, the images on the surveillance camera, and then at the end of that 2 days, it's just all gone, then another 2 days? Or is it always the purge?
In my experience, it just purge.
Okay. I want to thank you.
Thank you,
Your Honor.
All right. Any other defense attorneys' questions? No. Any redirect?
Any redirect?
All right.
Investigator Griffin.
Yes, sir.
Cross-examination, you were asked about a
There's the
prior
microphone.
incident involving Mr. Stillwell at the Green Store.
Yes, sir.
Did he ever talk to you about who was involved in shooting at him there?
I believe he gave a nickname, but I came to later discover who that might possibly be.
And did they have any connection with the individuals that you took out arrest warrants with in this case?
Initially, no, but the other individual that I believe was responsible.
Your Honor, can the jurors be reminded, unless you don't think so, about the same instruction?
Sure. So whatever's about to be said, if it came from Mr. Stillwell, and I don't know if it did or not, can only be considered as to Mr. Stillwell and as to count one.
You may continue, sir.
Yeah, I do want to correct myself. I don't want to insinuate that it came from Mr. Stillwell, but a nickname came up. The nickname, would you like me to provide the nickname?
You may.
The nickname that came.
It came from Mr. Stillwell. I have no objection, but if it came from another source, I believe that would be hearsay.
Your Honor, I understand. Let me ask you this. Do you remember when it was asked about running in, somebody ran into Mr. Stillwell at a nightclub and made a comment?
That's correct.
Where was that nightclub?
I think it's the Compound, if I'm not mistaken.
Who was it that made that comment to him? That he told you, that Mr. Stillwell told you?
He used the nickname of Stewie.
And was that Stewie a nickname that came up in this investigation?
Later on it did, yes, that's correct.
And what was, from your investigation, did that Stewie ever appear on any of this social media?
Yes, he did.
And was that individual, who were they associated with on social media?
The individuals that I had pointed to earlier. So there's pictures with Mr. Kelvin Watts and Mr. Lewis.
And in your conversations with Mr. Stillwell, did If Gang ever get brought up?
Well, my conversation with him, no.
Did your investigation that ever come up?
Yes, my investigation, yes, it did.
And in relation to surveillance videos, have you had a lot of surveillance video systems that have came up in cases that you've worked?
Yes.
And on cross, you were asked about how they're saved or how long they are retained. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Do the surveillance systems and their retention policies that you've encountered in homicides you've worked, are they all the same, or are they different systems and policies?
Well, I want to reiterate, my scope is very limited in terms of my experience with dealing with camera systems. Just in the cases that I've worked, they all vary based on, depending on the actual system in place.
Thank you, Investigator Griffin. No further questions.
Thank you.
Any recross?
All right, that was a good line of questioning. I see what he was trying to do there, but still, it's looking like Shannon just got caught up in something that had nothing to do with him. And I'm not seeing it either. All right, we got a couple super chats in the building. Thank you again to everybody who's in here. Like the video. We got 50% of you like the video. If a couple more of y'all could like the video, I would appreciate it. We had Amy over on the Cash App. She dropped a 50 bomb today. She is the major sponsor of today's show. She also gifted 10 memberships. So if you got a membership from Amy or from Finding Good, make sure y'all say thank you. Shout out to Clizzle of 420. Says, if Young Thug wins this case, how do they compensate him for killing his music career and bleeding him dry with legal fees and no bond? They haven't even proven why this case was brought on him. Not at all. And as far as his music career goes, if Young Thug beats this case, he is going to be the biggest artist in the nation. Trust you and me. He gets out, he drops that first album or track, it's gonna go crazy. So his music career is just fine. But when it comes to bleeding him dry and him being in jail, that's another thing. I don't know if they would try and sue in some cases. I could see Brian Steele potentially doing that, but as someone who's a non-lawyer, I don't know how they would do it. But that's a great question. We've got D in here. He said mic drop moments from the judge to start the day made me spill my tea. Oh no, don't do that. Nathaniel Thompson's up in here, said, what's up, Classy Beats? What happened? He said, I had to resend the super chat. I realized I misspelled a word. You didn't have to do that, man, but thank you for the support. And then Michael Schmidt says, hello, Amy. Hello, Classy Beats fans, and greetings from Germany. Shout out to Michael Schmidt. It was actually the person who sent that amazing email to Fannie Willis that got Miss Love removed. It might not have been Michael, but we're going to give him credit for that amazing email, because the person who also wrote that email was from Germany. Mr. Brown is in here showing love. Just came from the doctor. Hopefully you're doing well, Mr. Brown. Drops the 5 bomb. All right, y'all. We're going to get up out of here. We will be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you enjoy independent artist music from artists you may not have heard from before, make sure you tune in tonight. And even if you're not an artist, you still have an opportunity to win some cash tonight and just enjoy the show and participate in voting for your favorite song. So make sure y'all tune in tonight if that's something you're interested in. Also, I'll see y'all back here tomorrow. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any time we drop a new video or go live. I appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. And thank you for all your support. I appreciate y'all.